Chapter 542. Ning Shu was very confused about who the other quest taker was and whose body it was in. However, the most important thing now was the curse. Ning Shu asked 2333, "Is there really no way to break it?" "No, this curse is a one-time use item. However, the person who is cursed will definitely die. Therefore, your quest will fail." 2333 sounded very helpless. "Fortunately, you exchanged for the amulet. This amulet can save your life." Damn it, she was not satisfied. "Let's leave this quest world." 2333 said Ning Shu. "After all, the person who is cursed will die soon." Ning Shu bit her lips and asked, "How do we leave?" "Of course, we die. Kill yourself." 2333 said without much care. Damn it, how could she do such a stupid thing? Once she died, Mu Shui would ascend to the throne. Moreover, it would be a man ascending to the throne. What was the difference between this and the original plot? Ning Shu shook her head. Even if she failed the quest, she had to endure it. She did not know who the other quest taker was, but she had to do something even if she had to die. "I want you to die for your own good. The person who is cursed will suffer a lot. Every day, they will feel like thousands of ants are drilling into their heart. The pain will break their bones. You can say that they will die from the pain. They will also vomit blood." 2333 sounded very helpless. What the hell? Ning Shu was so shocked that she almost jumped up. This was the first time she had seen such an evil item. Moreover, it was used on her. Ning Shu always chose items to protect herself and increase her strength. She did not know that there was such an item. Ning Shu felt a fishy sweetness in his throat as blood surged up. Ning Shu smiled and swallowed the blood. He picked up the teacup and took a sip to rinse his mouth. Then he swallowed the blood in his mouth with a gulp. 2333. That this was a true portrayal of the mixed blood swallowing the teeth. "You really don't want to leave?" 2333 asked. "This is very, very painful. Very, very painful. Very few people can withstand it. This is the system's most evil item. The people who are cursed will kill themselves." Ning Shu, he was already afraid, yet he was still exaggerating the horror of this curse. Ning Shu was on tenterhooks, but when he thought of running away in such a cowardly manner, it was simply too useless. "Endure it. I'm someone who has endured the pain of chemotherapy for more than 10 years. No matter how great the pain is, I can endure it." Although Ning Shu was already mentally prepared, she still experienced what it meant to be in so much pain that she wished she was dead. Her internal organs felt as if countless needles were pricking her, and it was so painful that she almost stopped breathing. Moreover, it was as if a hammer was slowly and rhythmically breaking her bones inch by inch. Not only that, but he was also vomiting blood. For a moment, Ning Shu wanted to die just like that, as if he was in purgatory. Even though Ning Shu had prepared painkillers, it was useless. This curse seemed to be attacking the nerves, causing a feeling of extreme pain. It was as painful as it could be, overlapping the extreme pain of a human. Ning Shu was in so much pain that he rolled on the bed, biting the blanket tightly. When the pain was unbearable, Ning Shu stuffed antidote pills into his mouth. This was a curse similar to a poison. Although taking antidote pills was useless, Ning Shu could only hypnotize himself that it was useful. "Your Majesty, Your Majesty." Maid Autumn, who was holding a spittoon beside the dragon bed, was so anxious that she was crying. "I'll go find the imperial physician." "Come back." Ning Shu's breathing was weak. "Don't spread it. What's the use of calling the imperial physician? The imperial physician couldn't cure it." Ning Shu was now suffering. "Your Majesty." Maid Autumn looked at the blood in the spittoon with a terrified expression. Fortunately, his body seemed to be able to withstand the pain. Ning Shu was barely able to endure the pain. He asked Maid Autumn to get rid of the blood-stained flyers on the bed so that no one would notice. Ning Shu was in so much pain that his body was trembling. All the muscles in his body seemed to have gone out of control. Ning Shu couldn't even raise his hand. Ning Shu's breath was weak as she lay on the bed. She kept chanting the clear heart mantra in her heart, hoping that the clear heart mantra could dissipate some of the despair, hatred, and the urge to die. Ning Shu, why don't we go? This is only the first wave. It will only get more and more painful. Anyway, this mission has failed. There's no point in holding on like this. 2333's voice sounded in Ning Shu's mind. Ning Shu wanted to smile, but the pain made his face look hideous. I can't suffer for nothing. 2333 could only sigh. When you go back, remember to exchange for an aura that can resist curses. The missions in the future will get more and more complicated. It's normal for quest takers to be enemies. It's all up to each other. Ning Shu swallowed the blood in her mouth. She had never noticed such an item before. It seemed that she would have to browse the system store more in the future. There were items that could protect people, and there were items that could harm people. Ning Shu recited the clear heart incantation and fell asleep in a daze. She didn't know how long she had slept, but Maid Autumn's voice rang out beside her ear. Your Majesty, your body is not feeling well. Will you be attending court today? Ning Shu opened her eyes. Her whole body was numb. She struggled to get off the bed and sat in front of the bronze mirror. When she looked into the bronze mirror, Ning Shu was so scared that she almost dropped the mirror. The person in the mirror was as white as a sheet. To be precise, it was pale. Put more rouge on me. Ning Shu's voice came out from her throat. After a while, Ning Shu's face looked much better. It didn't look so scary anymore. Hold a cup of water. I will be thirsty. Ning Shu's voice was a little hoarse. She could vomit blood at any time. She could rinse her mouth with a cup of water. Otherwise, her mouth would be full of red teeth. Maid Autumn nodded. Ning Shu's legs were trembling as she walked. Her body was in too much pain. Ning Shu walked very slowly. She had to pretend to be graceful and elegant, but under her skirt, her legs were like sifting chaff. The moment she sat on the dragon throne, Ning Shu sighed in her heart. It was so comfortable to sit there. If you have something to report, court is dismissed. Maid Autumn immediately shouted. Her voice was especially sharp today, like a cuckoo crying blood. Mu Yao was the first to speak. Imperial Mother, there's still a few days before the day of my wedding. Imperial Mother must attend my wedding, and I still have to kowtow to you. Ning Shu was just about to speak when his throat heated up. He swallowed the blood with difficulty and waved at Maid Autumn. Maid Autumn immediately took the teacup that the palace servant behind her was holding. Ning Shu gulped down the tea before saying to Mu Yao, "We'll see when the time comes." Mu Yao wasn't disappointed. She knew that her Imperial Mother was busy with government affairs all day. Imperial Mother, you don't look very well. Are you feeling unwell? Crown Princess Mu Shui asked Ning Shu. Ning Shu looked at Mu Shui and said, I'm feeling a little unwell, but it's an old illness. Chapter 543. Mu Shui's eyes scanned his face inch by inch. She then lowered her head, not daring to look directly at his face. Mother Empress, you've seen the imperial physician. Don't bear with it if you're not feeling well. Ning Shu's expression was very cold. Why should I bear with it? Why should I bear with it? Mu Shui frowned, then said respectfully, I'm just worried about Mother Empress's health. If Mother Empress thinks it's fine, then it's fine. Ning Shu heard Mu Shui's words. As long as you're happy, it's fine. Ning Shu was already very lucky to be able to not reveal anything in front of so many people. He directly said that the court was dismissed and turned to leave. Back in the palace, Ning Shu fell onto the dragon bed. He felt as if countless knives were scraping his bones. It was so painful that Ning Shu's consciousness blurred. Ning Shu silently chanted the clear heart mantra. Since he couldn't cure the pain, he could only hypnotize himself. Damn bastard, I won't let you go. When I find out who you are, I'll make a big deal out of it. If you want to kill someone, just give them a stab. Why do you have to torture them? Ning Shu glanced at Official Chiu, who was standing next to him with an incomparably worried expression. Official Chiu was the person she usually interacted with the most. If it really was Official Chiu, Ning Shu felt that her acting skills were simply out of the universe. Ning Shu could feel Official Chiu's loyalty to him, but he couldn't say for sure. There was also Lu Chongqing. He spent more time with Lu Chongqing. He even slept in Phoenix Perch Hall for a night. He didn't know anything after he fell asleep. Lu Chongqing was on the list of suspects. Fourth imperial daughter Mu Yao should be a cute girl. A person's eyes couldn't lie. It wasn't easy for mission enforcers to pretend to be so pure and innocent. There was also Mu Shui. Ning Shu suspected Mu Shui the most. If the soul in Mu Shui's body was a quest enforcer, then a quest enforcer had helped Mu Shui counterattack. It turned out that Mu Shui, who was cannon fodder, had offered her soul to the quest enforcer to counterattack. If it was a woman's soul in Mu Shui's body, Ning Shu wouldn't mind. But it just had to be a man. Moreover, that man seemed to be an ambitious man who wanted to turn the matriarchal empire into a male-dominated society. Once thoughts surfaced, they couldn't be controlled. Most importantly, he had actually put a curse on himself. Ning Shu would rather die from the pain than let him complete the task easily. "I'll drag you down with me. Your Majesty, why don't this servant go and find an imperial physician? Why are you in so much pain?" Official Autumn was extremely anxious. Ning Shu waved his hand. "Don't worry about it. There's no need to find an imperial physician. Bring the memorials to me." Ning Shu didn't even want to move. Official Autumn placed the memorials in front of Ning Shu. Ning Shu's eyes were in a daze. The words on the memorials were blurry, one blurring into two. "Read them to me," Ning Shu said to Official Autumn. "This servant doesn't dare." Official Autumn knelt on the ground with a thump. Ning Shu said indifferently, "If I say you can, then you can." In the end, it was Official Autumn who read the memorials to Ning Shu one by one, allowing Ning Shu to understand some things from these memorials. After Official Autumn finished reading a memorial, Ning Shu held a cinnabar pen and wrote in circles on the memorial. In order to prevent his hand from shaking too much, Ning Shu used his left hand to hold his right wrist. Only then could he write without shaking. Ning Shu, it really was painful. Living like this was truly painful. Every day was so painful that he wanted to die. He also had to vomit blood. How much blood could a human's body vomit? And right now, Ning Shu couldn't eat anymore. It was as if his stomach had lost its ability to digest. Eating would make his body feel even more pain. Even if he didn't die of pain, he would die of hunger. Fortunately, Ning Shu had exchanged for a fasting pill beforehand. Eating one would turn into energy that his body needed. There was no need to digest it, and he could go a long time without eating. Every time he ate, Ning Shu would pretend to eat something. Eating these things was also a burden on his body. The person who had cursed him was really ruthless. Ning Shu felt like every day was like a year. Every second was so painful and unbearable. He felt like he was in hell. He didn't know when this hell would end. Ning Shu had been thinking of a way to deal with Mu Shui. Whether the task enforcer was Lu Chongqing or Mu Shui, their goal should be the Dragon Throne. He must remove Mu Shui's status as the crown princess and find a successor. Ning Shu was afraid that he wouldn't be able to endure it and die. Even if he defeated Mu Shui, these ministers would push the 4 imperial daughters to the throne. Ning Shu would really vomit blood and die. Ning Shu was hanging on by a thread. He didn't want Mu Shui to become the empress. Ning Shu had already thrown the task to the back of his mind. In any case, this body would die soon. If the task enforcer's body died, her task would also fail. This body would be tortured by endless pain until it collapsed. Ning Shu endured the pain in his body and still went to court every day. It was just that the makeup on his face was getting thicker and thicker. His lips were starting to turn blue. Every time he went to court, he would put on red lipstick and heavy makeup. Seeing that Mu Shui was getting more and more confused and even began to indirectly ask about her physical condition, Ning Shu was 80% sure that the soul in Mu Shui's body was a mission enforcer. However, Ning Shu was more curious about how Mu Shui managed to put a curse on her. Did she do it in her own mansion? How did this curse get to me? Ning Shu asked 2333 in his mind. 2333 said, "The curse needs a carrier. Anything can be a carrier. Then, a specific person will touch the carrier, and the curse will be transferred to the person. It's very insidious." Ning Shu frowned. She had touched a lot of things. Who knew which one was the carrier of the curse? Ning Shu had learned that there was no such thing as the most sinister in the human heart. There was only something more sinister. In the future, he would have to exchange for more things and arm himself to the teeth. It would be great to see these people who wanted to harm others see their things fail. Ning Shu knew that Mu Shui had started to gather the officials in private. She just didn't dare to make too big of a move in private. She was probably building momentum for her ascension to the throne. Also, Mu Shui had some talented men under her command. It seemed that she planned to let these men become officials after she ascended to the throne. He was determined not to let this happen. There were too many planes where men were superior to women. Ning Shu wanted to see these men live a lowly life under the control of women. You could say that Ning Shu had a bad taste. Anyway, that was what Ning Shu thought. Even if there was a day when men could rise up again, Ning Shu didn't want that day to come so soon. Your Majesty, the Phoenix Queen is waiting outside the palace. Do you want to see her? Autumn Maid saw that Ning Shu was in so much pain that the veins on his forehead were popping. His face was distorted. Autumn Maid carefully asked Ning Shu. Ning Shu shook his head. He didn't want to see the Phoenix Queen. If he looked like this, the Phoenix Queen would definitely see through him. Ning Shu didn't want the news of him being poisoned to spread. Otherwise, it would give Mu Shui a chance to rule the country. His position as the Empress would be taken away. Chapter 544. When Lu Changqing heard Autumn say that His Majesty did not want to see him, he glanced into the hall and said to Autumn, "Please take care of His Majesty, Autumn." Autumn hurriedly bowed. "This is your servant's duty." Lu Zhangqing glanced into the hall again before turning to leave. Autumn walked into the hall. Ning Shu said, "Your Majesty, the Phoenix Empress has left." Ning Shu asked, "What does the Phoenix Empress want from me?" "It seems to be some tonic soup for your Majesty." Autumn saw that Lu Changqing was carrying a box of food and then took it away. Ning Shu was speechless. Tonic soup again. If she drank every tonic soup Lu Changqing brought over, who knew how nourishing she would be? She might even be too weak to take it. However, Ning Shu guessed that Lu Changqing had probably come to test him to see if there was anything wrong with his body. In any case, Ning Shu was extremely wary of Lu Changqing and Mu Shui. "Your Majesty, today is the 15th, Autumn said. "So what if it was the 15th? She was in so much pain that she felt like she was walking on a steel knife. Would she still go to Phoenix Perch Palace? When she was in pain, she wanted to bang her head against the wall. Even a blind person could see that something was wrong with her. Ning Shu repeatedly reminded Autumn, "Pay attention to the people below. Don't blabber." "I will pay attention." Autumn saw that Ning Shu's clothes were soaked with sweat and quickly prepared hot water for a bath. At night, the servants of Phoenix Perch Palace came to invite Ning Shu and asked if Ning Shu would go to Phoenix Perch Palace. Autumn directly said that His Majesty was busy with government affairs and would not go. The servants went back to tell Lu Changqing that His Majesty would not be coming to Phoenix Perch Palace tonight. Lu Changqing heard this and pursed his lips. Finally, he said, "Go to bed." The next day, when Ning Shu went to court and saw Mu Shui, she threw a memorial at Mu Shui's face. Mu Shui was stunned for a moment. When she was hit by Ning Shu, she forgot to dodge and was hit on the forehead by the hard corner of the memorial. Her skin was broken and beads of blood flowed out. Mu Shui touched her forehead and saw the bright red blood stains on her fingers. A fierce look flashed across her face as she knelt down and lowered her head in fear. "I don't know why Imperial Mother is so angry. Your Majesty, please calm down." The civil and military officials all knelt down. "Open the memorial and see what's written on it. Crown Princess, you're the heir to the throne, yet you're keeping a bunch of concubines outside. What are you doing? As the Crown Princess, you should be cautious at all times. Do you want the entire country to think that the Crown Princess is a licentious person? Do you still want to be the Crown Prince?" Ning Shu coldly said, "Raising such a group of male pets, the sound of perverted music from them can be heard next door." Mu Shui tightly knitted her handsome brows and picked up the memorial on the ground. She opened it and read it. The contents of the memorial were accusing her of being licentious and having a lot of male pets, which went against the dignity of a crown prince. Ning Shu coldly looked at Mu Shui. What else do you have to say? Mu Shue's face was gloomy. Those men weren't male pets, they were the talents he found. Would he play with them? Mu Shue felt as if she had stepped on feces. Mu Shue couldn't understand. How could she be impeached? As for disturbing the neighbors next door, those people wouldn't do such a stupid thing. Mu Shue glanced at the high and mighty empress and didn't refute. I know I'm wrong. If you know you're wrong, then you should change. How can I rest assured to hand the country over to you like this? Send these male pets back to where they came from. Don't let them appear in Xian City again. Ning Shu felt as if the bones in his body were about to shatter. His voice was practically stolen from the gaps between his teeth. His entire body was drenched in sweat. When the ministers saw Ning Shu's body trembling slightly, they only thought that Ning Shu was angry. One by one, they shouted for Ning Shu to calm down. Mu Shue kowtowed to the ground and said in a muffled voice, I know. As the crown prince, you must always pay attention to your actions. Dismiss these male pets and ground them for a month. Ning Shu felt as if something was bubbling up in his throat. He was almost about to spit it out. He couldn't even swallow it. Ning Shu flicked his sleeves and turned to enter the side chamber. Eldest imperial sister, your forehead is bleeding. Are you all right? Mu Yao reached out to help Mu Shue up. Mu Shue brushed away Mu Yao's hand and stood up. She didn't even look at Mu Yao and turned to leave. Her back was filled with a cold aura. Mu Yao wrinkled her delicate nose. She felt that her eldest imperial sister didn't like her. Her attitude towards her was also strange. However, Mu Yao didn't care about Mu Yao's attitude. She happily returned to the residence. She was about to get married. As soon as Ning Shu entered the side chamber, he couldn't hold it in any longer. He spat out a large mouthful of blood. This time, the blood wasn't bright red. Instead, it was mixed with blood clots. It looked a bit like fragments of his internal organs. Ning Shu felt that he wouldn't be able to hold on for much longer. Your Majesty, should we call for an imperial physician? You won't be able to take it if you keep spitting out blood like this. Autumn official looked at the blood on the obsidian floor and spoke in a trembling voice. Ning Shu waved his hand. He lay on the couch and was barely breathing. Autumn official personally fetched water. She squatted on the ground and used a rag to wipe the blood on the floor. Her eyes were red. Ning Shu found it funny when he saw her like this. Why are you crying? This servant's heart aches for your Majesty. Autumn official wiped the floor vigorously. Ning Shu was quite happy. At least today, he got rid of the talent that Mu Shue had painstakingly searched for. Mu Shue had people in the imperial court. Could it be that he, the empress, didn't have people in the imperial court? If he wanted to impeach her, wouldn't it be a matter of minutes? The most important thing now was to find an heir. Ning Shu called back the hidden guards that had been sent to investigate the second and third imperial princesses. He carefully asked what was so special about these two people. Ning Shu didn't expect them to have any great talents. He only hoped that they could inherit the country of Xian. Several hidden guards told Ning Shu what they had observed. Ning Shu summarized. In short, the two imperial princesses were mediocre. They were really mediocre. If they were hiding it, they wouldn't show it at all. If they wanted to pretend to be a pig to eat a tiger, they might become a pig in the end. As an emperor, not only did he need to be patient, he also needed to have the aura of a ruler. Occasionally, he needed to play open schemes and attack openly. The three imperial princesses had a fatal flaw, which was that they were too lecherous. Every night, they would recruit more than 2 male pets. They liked to play with excitement. They were too greedy for pleasure in bed. It was easy to listen to pillow talk and be seduced by beauty. Ning Shu's head hurt from thinking about it. In short, even with Ning Shu's not very bright brain, he knew that these two were not the best candidates for the throne. The original owner, Mu Nikhang, also didn't choose these two people. Instead, she gave the throne to Mu Yao. So now, where was she going to find an heir? There were only 4 adult imperial princesses. In the imperial harem, there were still baby girls who wore pants. Ning Shu's brain was kicked by a donkey. He wouldn't choose a baby girl. Wasn't this giving the ministers a chance to control the imperial court? A baby girl could fight against those adult imperial princesses. Ning Shu sighed in his heart. The pain was unbearable. He stuffed an antidote pill into his mouth. Although it didn't have any effect, at least it had a psychological effect. If he took the pill, it would definitely be useful. Chapter 545. Mu Yao was going to marry the Yuan Jun, so Ning Shu had to give them a wedding gift. Ning Shu said to Autumn Official, who was wiping the floor, "What good things do I have in my warehouse? Let me see what gift I should give to the fourth princess." Autumn Official took the booklet. Ning Shu said, "Your Majesty, everything in the warehouse is recorded in the booklet." "Read it," Ning Shu said with his eyes closed. Autumn Official read the rare jewels in the booklet. When Ning Shu heard about the dragon pearl, he was stunned. "Dragon pearl? What dragon pearl? Let me see." "Yes." Autumn Official immediately asked someone to bring the dragon pearl over. The dragon pearl in Autumn Official's mouth was the size of a baby's fist. It was lustrous and snow-white, like a big pearl. Ning Shu took the dragon pearl and sniffed it. It had a fishy smell, and he could even hear the sound of the tide when he placed it beside his ear. Ning Shu was a little surprised. This couldn't really be a dragon pearl, right? "Your Majesty, this is a dragon pearl given to you by a wandering immortal. He said it can prolong your life." Autumn Official saw that Ning Shu was interested in this dragon pearl and hurriedly said, "Dragon pearl?" Ning Shu recalled what he had read in the book. This thing should be the inner core of a high-level creature. How could it be here? Ning Shu put away this thing and ordered a lot of rare jewels to send to the fourth princess's residence. Ning Shu had difficulty walking now, so he naturally wouldn't attend Mu Yao's wedding. What if he couldn't control himself and vomited blood again? However, an accident happened the day before the wedding. The Yuan Jun went missing, and no one knew where she went. Even the Yuan family didn't know where she went. When Ning Shu found out about this, the first thing that came to his mind was Mu Shui. This was done by Mu Shui. She was already grounded, yet she still did such a thing. It was probably because her people were driven out of Xian City by Ning Shu. She was so angry that she did such a disgusting thing. Even if Mu Shui wasn't the one who did it, Ning Shu planned to pin the blame on her. After Yuan Jun went missing, Mu Yao was so anxious that she cried. The damage to a woman's reputation when a man went missing was really too great, just like how the feudal society was harsh on a woman's reputation. The female supreme country's requirements for men had also reached a harsh level. Ning Shu sent out guards to look for Yuan Jun, but they couldn't find her. Moreover, after one night, Yuan Jun's reputation had been ruined. The wedding was naturally postponed indefinitely. Mu Yao ran into the palace and kowtowed to Ning Shu. "Imperial Mother, you must help me find Mother." Ning Shu was in so much pain that his whole body was trembling. He swallowed the blood in his throat and drank a cup of water before saying, "But progenitor's reputation has been ruined." Mu Yao immediately said, "I don't care about your reputation at all. I like him as a person. Even if he loses his chastity, I don't care." Mu Yao was different from the people of this world. She didn't think it was a big deal for a man to lose his chastity. Ning Shu nodded and said, "Since you want to marry Yuan Jun, then marry him. But marrying a man who loses his chastity is a blow to the imperial family's reputation. Mu Yao, isn't your wish to travel the world? I'll let you give up your identity as an imperial daughter and take your 3 husbands and 4 attendants to travel the world. Of course, you're still my daughter. I'll give you money and send people to protect you." Mu Yao was stunned for a moment. She looked at Ning Shu and finally knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Ning Shu. She said with tears flowing down her face, "Imperial Mother, I'm willing. But I can't bear to part with you." "It's fine, you can come back to see Imperial Mother at any time. Mu Yao, don't have the intention to harm others, and don't let your guard down against others. Even if it's the people by your side, you have to be extra vigilant." Ning Shu looked at Mu Yao's reluctant and pure face and couldn't help but speak out. Mu Yao's tears flowed down when she heard Ning Shu's words. "Imperial Mother, you're so good to me. I can't bear to part with you. Then don't marry Yuan Jun." Mu Yao hiccuped. "Let's go. When the time comes, listen to my command." Ning Shu waved his hand. Mu Yao stood up and moved in front of Ning Shu. She kissed Ning Shu's face and hugged Ning Shu. Her body was in so much pain that it convulsed slightly. Imperial Mother, I love you. Ning Shu grinned. It's fine as long as you're happy. As soon as Mu Yao left, Ning Shu couldn't help but vomit a mouthful of blood. There were more blood clots than the last time. Ning Shu suspected that his lungs were already riddled with holes. The imperial bodyguard that Ning Shu sent out found Yuan Jun. They found her in a small brothel in Xian City. Yuan Jun was treated as a male prostitute and was molested by several women. The Prime Minister's son, Yuan Jun, had already lost her chastity. Moreover, Yuan Jun should be married to the fourth princess. It was simply a big scandal in Xian City. Yuan Jun, who was found, was disheartened and planned to commit suicide. However, she was saved by someone. Mu Yao ran in front of Yuan Jun and said that she wanted to marry Yuan Jun no matter what. She didn't care about her chastity at all. In such a situation, Mu Yao could still marry Yuan Jun. Yuan family was naturally endlessly grateful. The marriage was held as usual. Ning Shu sent a lot of jewelry over. These things should allow Mu Yao to live a peaceful and happy life for the rest of her life. The men around Mu Yao loved Mu Yao very much. Mu Yao should be as happy as in the plot. Now what Ning Shu wanted to do was to make Mu Yao disappear. Mu Yao, the fourth princess of the imperial family, would disappear from the imperial family's genealogy. Naturally, she wouldn't have the right to inherit. People like Mu Yao living in the complicated imperial family would be very miserable. She couldn't play with these people. Your Majesty, the Empress Phoenix is here. Autumn Maid looked at Ning Shu's ashen face. The Empress Phoenix said that she hasn't seen Your Majesty for a long time. She's worried about Your Majesty. Ning Shu nodded. Put on Zhen's makeup. Now, Ning Shu was facing a problem. That was, she didn't leave her bedchamber. This made Lu Chongqing feel that something was wrong. He felt that Lu Chongqing was here to verify something. After Autumn Maid finished putting on the makeup, Ning Shu ate another antidote pill. He kept chanting the clear heart incantation in his heart. Let him in. Ning Shu sat in front of the table and flipped open the memorial. Before he saw Lu Chongqing's figure, he first heard the sound of the xiangfei bamboo on his body colliding with the jade pendant. Ning Shu raised his head and saw Lu Chongqing dressed in ivory white brocade clothes. He walked at a pace that was neither fast nor slow. He was very elegant. Lu Chongqing bowed to Ning Shu. Your Majesty, are you not feeling well? I haven't been to the imperial harem for a long time. Ning Shu said with a tired expression, recently, I've been very tired. I really don't have the strength to do anything. Lu Chongqing furrowed his brows. His cold voice was filled with concern. Your Majesty, have you seen an imperial physician? Your Majesty should go out of the palace more often. It's easy for one's mind to become tired if you're always in the palace reading memorials and dealing with government affairs. Ning Shu, walk my ass. For her, walking right now was like going to hell. Facing Lu Chongqing's concerned gaze, Ning Shu did his best to curl the corners of his lips. He said, many thanks for the Empress Phoenix's concern. I will go out more often in the future. Lu Chongqing walked to the table and reached out to hold Ning Shu's hand, which was in so much pain that the veins were popping out. He said, Your Majesty, nothing is more important than your body. Chongqing hopes that Your Majesty will be in good health. Ning Shu smiled. I will take good care of my body. The Empress Phoenix must also take good care of her body. Chapter 546. Ning Shu's hair stood on end when Lu Zhongqing held his hand. There was a metallic taste in his throat. He hurriedly pulled his hand away and picked up the teacup to drink. Lu Zhongqing saw that Ning Shu's hand was trembling as he held the teacup. A worried expression appeared on his cold face. Your Majesty, what's wrong? As he spoke, he held Ning Shu's hand again. Your Majesty, you're not feeling well. Why are your hands so cold and trembling? Ning Shu was speechless. Fuck, talk properly. Can you not shake hands? Ning Shu's face trembled. He curled his lips and said, This is because I'm hungry. I'm so hungry that I'm trembling. A faint smile appeared on Lu Zhongqing's face. It was incomparably elegant. Ning Shu asked, What does your majesty want to eat? Ning Shu frowned. What was Lu Zhongqing doing? Let's just have soup. Phoenix Empress, you personally made it. Ning Shu only wanted Lu Zhongqing to leave quickly. Her entire body was in so much pain that it was spasming. Lu Zhongqing released Ning Shu's hand and nodded. Ning Shu bowed and left. After taking 2 steps, he turned his head and said to Ning Shu, Your Majesty, I hope that your Majesty can handle the matter of the Crown Princess carefully. Do not hurt the relationship between mother and daughter. No matter how things develop in the end, I hope that your Majesty and the Crown Princess will be well. Ning Shu finally understood that Lu Zhongqing had come because of Mu Shui. Because of the issue of the male pets, Mu Shui had been grounded for a month. Lu Zhongqing had come to plead for leniency, but his attitude didn't seem like one. What was with his disappointed expression? Ning Shu's face stiffened. He said coldly, I had high hopes for her, but what she did really disappointed me. Her behavior was so unrestrained that the imperial censors caught her and openly raised a group of male pets. How would the people of the world view this? Have her properly reflect on her actions. Lu Zhongqing only looked at Ning Shu with a cold expression. He didn't argue for the crown princess. It seemed that he didn't care about Ning Shu's anger. Zhongting, go make soup for your majesty. As soon as Lu Zhongqing left, Ning Shu bent over and vomited a lot of blood. Looking at the black blood clots in the blood, Ning Shu could imagine how terrible his body must be. Ning Shu sent the imperial secret guards to assassinate Mu Shui, intending to kill her directly. Once she was dead, everything would be over. If he really couldn't find a suitable candidate for the throne, he would directly give the throne to the mediocre second daughter. She really didn't have much time left. When it was time for dinner, the palace servants of Phoenix Perch Hall brought over the soup that Lu Zhongqing had made. The palace servants took the tonic soup out of the food box. Ning Shu smelled a rich fragrance. He could tell at a glance that the soup had been simmering for a long time. Ning Shu still did not drink the soup. He had always been wary of Lu Zhongqing, the Phoenix Empress. Ning Shu had always been wary of her. Ning Shu didn't know if Lu Zhongqing had noticed something. He couldn't guarantee that he was exactly the same as Mu Nisheng, so he could only avoid interacting with Lu Zhongqing. What disappointed Ning Shu was that the imperial secret guards he sent out had all returned. A few of them had even been killed. Those who returned were also covered in scars. The imperial secret guards told Ning Shu that the crown princess's residence was heavily guarded, and that the crown princess herself was not weak. Those who were captured alive by the crown princess could only bite open their poison sacs and commit suicide. Ning Shu's heart sank. The crown princess was not weak. If she couldn't do it in the dark, she could only do it in the light. Now, he could only remove the crown princess from the position of crown princess. Ning Shu rubbed her forehead. Her head was throbbing with a throbbing headache. The mission was not easy to begin with. His body was not strong enough. He was in so much pain that he couldn't think. Ning Shu could no longer read the memorials by himself. He had to rely on Maid Chiu to read them to him. His skin had already begun to bruise. His blood vessels must have ruptured and the blood seeped into his skin. What a broken body! Ning Shu gritted his teeth. Even if he had to die, he had to deal with Mu Shui first. When the weather was good, Ning Shu gritted her teeth and walked out of her bedchamber to stroll around. Because she always stayed in her bedchamber, there were already rumors that the Empress's body was on the verge of collapsing. Ning Shu could only drag his broken body around the palace. Everywhere he went, Ning Shu would praise the beauty of the flower. He would also say that the koi was fat and strong. He always wanted to make a scene. He wanted to tell everyone that the Empress was fine. The pain made Ning Shu's body weak. He placed his hand on Maid Chiu's hand. Most of the pressure was on Maid Chiu. You must be tired, Your Majesty. Why don't you go back to the palace? Ning Shu asked. Ning Shu squinted his eyes and looked at a pavilion not far away. He asked Maid Chiu, who is in that pavilion? Maid Chiu looked and said, that is the Phoenix Queen. I don't know who the other person is. Let's go take a look. There were still people in the palace that Maid Chiu did not know. Ning Shu walked closer and saw that Lu Zhongqing was talking to an 11 or 12-year-old girl. The girl was wearing plain clothes and had a stubborn look on her face. She had a fierce and rebellious aura. "My Majesty." When Lu Changqing saw Ning Shu, his face flashed with shock. The girl looked at Ning Shu. Her eyes were full of hatred. She looked scared and alert. She clenched her fists and slowly backed away. Ning Shu looked at the girl and asked Lu Changqing, "Who is this child?" Lu Changqing's face flashed strangely. He said, "This is Wen Guijuan's daughter. After Wen Guijun passed away, this child has been in the cold palace." Mu Nishang had no recollection of this. When Guijun had been sent to the cold palace by Mu Nishang, he did not expect to have such a big child. "What is her name?" Ning Shu asked the girl. The girl looked at Ning Shu. Her face was full of sarcasm. She did not say a word. She was very cynical. "My Majesty, she has no name," Lu Changqing said. "She is not recorded in the royal family tree." Ning Shu nodded. His face was expressionless. Ning Shu's words seemed to provoke the girl. Her face became full of sarcasm and hatred. She was like a little wolf. She wanted to bite Ning Shu, but she was afraid that he was stronger than her. Ning Shu ignored the girl's hateful expression. He said to Lu Changqing, "What did the Phoenix Queen say to this child?" Lu Changqing's expression was calm. He said, "This child is pitiful. She doesn't have enough to eat or warm clothes. She has to fight for food with the lowest palace servants. Changqing feels sorry for her." Ning Shu heard these words. He was still expressionless. He glanced at the girl and said, "It's getting late. I should go back to the palace and read the memorials." From beginning to end, Ning Shu did not say anything about the child's existence. He was ruthless and cold. The girl looked at Ning Shu. Her eyes were red. Her expression was full of disgust. After Ning Shu left, Lu Changqing said gently to the girl, "Stay by my side. Don't go back to the cold palace." Lu Changqing reached out and placed his hand on the girl's head. His voice was full of pity. "You are the daughter of a royal family. You should not live like that in the cold palace." Chapter 547. Lu Zhangqing wanted the girl to live with him. But the girl's expression was very sarcastic. She pushed away Lu Zhangqing's hand on her head. "I don't want it. Or you. I've lived in the cold palace for so many years. I don't need your fake kindness. Everyone in the palace is half-hearted. You don't have to pretend to be nice to me while thinking of how to use me." Lu Zhangqing frowned. He was very tolerant of the girl. He stuffed the snacks on the stone table into the girl's arms. "Take it and eat." The girl held the plate with an unnatural expression. "You gave it to me. I didn't ask you for it." The girl ran away in a flash. Lu Zhangqing looked at the girl's back. Her body was shrouded in an indescribable sadness, confusion, and struggle. Ning Shu walked back to the sleeping quarters. He lay on the dragon bed, unable to move. His clothes were also drenched in sweat. He vomited blood, which flowed from the corner of his mouth to his neck. The bedsheets were covered in blood. Autumn Maid wiped Ning Shu's mouth while crying. "Your Majesty, should we call the imperial physician?" Ning Shu didn't say anything. He felt that his body was already smashed to pieces. Death by 1,000 cuts was nothing more than this. Ning Shu personally tested the most vicious curse in history. After going out for a trip today, Ning Shu felt that her days were getting shorter and shorter. She would probably break down soon. "Your Majesty, wear the dragon ball." Autumn Maid Ning Shu said. "The immortals said it's good for the body." Ning Shu shook his head. Although it was called a dragon ball, it was actually the inner core of a spiritual monster that could be cultivated in a high-level plane. There was only energy inside, and it didn't have the ability to extend one's life. If Ning Shu cultivated the chi force of a peerless martial art, he might be able to absorb this energy. But if he swallowed the inner core now, he might be directly blown to pieces by the violent energy inside. Mu Yao entered the palace to see Ning Shu. Ning Shu could only climb out of bed and let Autumn Maid redo his makeup. When Mu Yao saw Ning Shu, she asked, "Imperial Mother, when can I leave?" Ning Shu said with some difficulty, "I'm still planning. To make a princess disappear, there must be some twists and turns. Why are you in such a hurry?" Mu Yao sighed. Her expression was a little helpless. She had married Yuan Jun, but Yuan Jun was always worried about her loss of chastity. She had repeatedly told Yuan Jun that she really didn't care at all. Mu Yao really didn't care. In her world, men didn't have any moral integrity and messed around too much. Moreover, the servants in the residence were also talkative and always said some bad things. The current Yuan Jun had fallen into a state of self-loathing. Right now, Mu Yao just wanted to take her mother and the male pets in the backyard to go sightseeing and travel to every corner of the world. In the past, she didn't have the chance to travel around the world. Now that she had the Emperor's mother's sponsorship, she was a little excited just thinking about it. Ning Shu drank a cup of water to suppress the blood in his throat before saying, "It won't be long. When the time comes, listen to me." "Thank you, Imperial Mother." Mu Yao was very happy. "Imperial Mother, you're so good to me." Mu Yao hugged Ning Shu tightly to express the excitement in her heart. "Imperial Mother, Ning Shu, fuck." So painful. As soon as Mu Yao left, Ning Shu vomited a mouthful of blood. Fuck, he got used to it after vomiting for a while. Late at night, Ning Shu sent out the Imperial Secret Guard to capture the young girl in the cold palace. Ning Shu sat on a chair and silently chanted the Clear Heart incantation. After a while, he opened his eyes and saw the young girl's mouth was covered by the secret guard. When she met Ning Shu's gaze, the young girl's eyes immediately became resentful. She directly bit the secret guard's hand that was covering her mouth. Without Ning Shu's order, the secret guard endured the pain in his hand. Ning Shu waved his hand to dismiss the secret guard. The secret guard let go of the young girl's mouth. The young girl's lips were stained with blood. It was obvious that she had bitten the secret guard's hand. "From today onwards, you will be called Mu Qing," Ning Shu said. The young girl bared her teeth, which were dyed red with blood. Her expression was mocking. "May I ask what Her Majesty means by this?" Ning Shu glanced at her indifferently. "Don't you even know basic etiquette? Slap her." Autumn Maid walked over to slap her, but the young girl, no, she was now called Mu Qing, pushed her to the ground. Autumn Maid fell to the ground. Mu Qing stood not far away and looked at Ning Shu provocatively with her arms crossed. She looked very smug, as if she had won against Ning Shu. Ning Shu didn't get angry. He only frowned. "You've lived in the cold palace for so many years. How come you haven't been beaten to death?" Mu Qing's expression was as fierce as a wolf's. "I'm not afraid of death. Others are afraid of death, so I'm alive." Ning Shu made an oath sound. So she was holding on with her threatening aura. "You're the high and mighty empress. Why do you care about a lowly person like me?" Mu Qing's face was filled with disgust and hatred for Ning Shu. Her hands were clenched into fists, and her body was trembling slightly. Clearly, she was trying her best to suppress her emotions. Ning Shu drank a cup of tea and said, "Are you venting your dissatisfaction with me?" "No," Mu Qing said. "Mu Qing, I don't have a name, and I'm not called Mu Qing." Mu Qing interrupted Ning Shu. Ning Shu was very annoyed. Talking was already tiring, and this girl was still making a fuss. Ning Shu directly called the shadow guard in and said, "Beat her up. Just don't kill her." Mu Qing stared at Ning Shu with her eyes wide open. She was shocked, resentful, and wronged. Ning Shu said indifferently, "Although you're my child, you're still a stranger. You feel that I owe you anything for being able to decide your fate. But at least you're still alive. Your identity as the Empress can make others fear you. Otherwise, do you think you'd be able to live until now?" "Beat her." Ning Shu rubbed his forehead. He tasted something fishy in his throat and drank 2 cups of water in a row. Mu Qing didn't struggle. She squatted on the ground and hugged her head, allowing the shadow guard to beat her. Mu Qing bit her lips tightly and occasionally let out a muffled groan. "That's enough," Ning Shu said. Ning Shu looked at Mu Qing. "Can you talk properly now? Be more mature. I don't care at all about you venting your anger like this, and I won't feel guilty." Mu Qing looked at Ning Shu, her eyes red. "Don't you feel a trace of guilt towards father? I'm the Empress. There's a reason for everything I do." Ning Shu said indifferently. I won't say anything about the past. Even if I was wrong, I'll just let it be. Mu Qing had been unruly before. Now that she heard Ning Shu's words, tears immediately fell. Father was talking about you before he died, but he ended up wrapped in a mess. You didn't even know he was dead. Ning Shu's head hurt. He was in a daze. He kept chanting the clear heart incantation in his heart. Hearing Mu Qing's mournful accusations, Ning Shu was very irritated. She didn't have much time left. She didn't want to hear these old and rotten things. She didn't want to hear about the entanglement of love and hate. Chapter 548. Mu Qing cried her heart out, as if she wanted to cry out all the grievances she had suffered all these years. She wiped her tears fiercely, and her face was red from the rubbing of her rough clothes. Your Majesty? Autumn Maid saw the veins on Ning Shu's forehead bulging, and even the veins on his face were very obvious. She couldn't help but ask, Your Majesty, are you okay? Ning Shu closed his eyes. From the moment he saw Mu Qing, Ning Shu had been thinking about giving the throne to this girl. Now that he thought about it, he was too naive. Mu Qing grew up in the cold palace, and there were many things that she didn't understand. She didn't have anything that a ruler of a country should have. It was better to give the throne to a mediocre princess. Mu Qing wiped her tears, looked at Ning Shu and said, Why are you looking for me? If there's nothing, you wouldn't have thought of me. Everyone wants to use me. Everyone? Ning Shu asked. Mu Qing's face showed her usual sarcasm. The Phoenix Empress wants me to live with her. She says that I'm a daughter of the royal family and should live a luxurious life. Ning Shu frowned. You know the Phoenix Empress? How could I know such a high and mighty person? One who is unaccountably solicitous is hiding evil intentions. Suddenly, two important people in the palace pay attention to me. What value do I have? Mu Qing sneered. Ning Shu rubbed his forehead. The severe headache made Ning Shu unable to think. Mu Qing was a worthless person. Why would Lu Zhangqing pay attention to her? Or did Lu Zhangqing and Mu Qing know each other? Mu Qing didn't appear in the plot at all. Mu Nishang didn't remember this person either. During the day, Lu Zhangqing seemed to be quite familiar with Mu Qing. Lu Zhangqing was sent to the cold palace by Mu Nishang. They were both in the cold palace, so Lu Zhangqing and Mu Qing should know each other. Lu Zhangqing had the memories of his previous life. He might have been reborn. Perhaps it was impossible. Lu Zhangqing was in charge of the entire harem. It was normal for him to know that there was a child in the cold palace. However, Lu Zhangqing had never mentioned this child in front of Mu Nishang. Ning Shu's head was about to explode. He vaguely guessed that Lu Changqing might have been reborn. Mu Shui might be a mission enforcer, and Lu Changqing might have been reborn. Now, both of them seemed to want to take revenge on him. Ning Shu inexplicably felt that he had taken the blame for Mu Nishang. Originally, it was just a matter of an heir, but in the end, it had become so complicated. In particular, Lu Changqing's seemingly emotionless attitude made Ning Shu unable to understand what Lu Changqing was thinking. Mu Nishang had harmed the father and daughter so badly. Lu Changqing, who had been reborn with resentment, had to do something. I have to speed up. Ning Shu asked Mu Qing, Can you read? I can't even fill my stomach. How can I be literate? Mu Qing said sarcastically. Ning Shu's face was cold. Speak properly, don't be so sarcastic. Do you know how to read? Mu Qing bit her lips, looking resentful. A little. Come and read the memorial, Ning Shu said. Mu Qing's expression was very shocked, and a trace of suspicion flashed across her face. In the end, she obediently took the memorial and read it. She stuttered as she held the memorial. Her forehead was full of sweat. After reading it with great difficulty, she folded the memorial and put it on the table. Ning Shu rubbed his forehead and asked, What does the memorial say? Mu Qing curled her lips and said, This is a memorial from a local official who has been late in paying taxes. Ning Shu glanced at Mu Qing and asked, How do you think it should be solved? I don't know. Mu Qing said straightforwardly. What do you mean by letting me read the memorial? Don't tell me you want to give me the throne to compensate me. Ning Shu felt that Mu Qing was a smart person. She just didn't have a filter on her mouth. Is the throne so easy to sit on? Ning Shu called a secret guard and brought Mu Qing back to the cold palace. Before leaving, Mu Qing's expression was full of confusion. She didn't know what Ning Shu meant by this. Ning Shu sent a few secret guards to monitor Mu Qing's every move. He wanted to see what kind of attitude Mu Qing had after this incident and if there were any changes in her behavior. After Mu Qing left, Ning Shu lay on the bed with the help of maid Qiu. He was thinking about Lu Changqing, Mu Shui, and Mu Yao. There were too many things that needed to be solved. The pain in his body made Ning Shu unable to sleep all night. It was as if there were steel needles stabbing his brain. The next day, Ning Shu came back from the morning court with difficulty and saw Lu Changqing waiting at the door of the sleeping palace. Ning Shu was in so much pain that he didn't have any strength left. He didn't want to talk to Lu Changqing at all. Lu Changqing carried the food box and walked in front of Ning Shu. He was a head taller than Ning Shu. Lu Changqing sighed. "Your Majesty." Ning Shu, "Phoenix Queen, what's the matter?" Ning Shu asked Lu Changqing. Lu Changqing had a faint smile on his face. Under the morning light, a warm halo spread out, causing his cold face to have some warmth. "Changqing is here to deliver a tonic soup for your Majesty. Your Majesty's body needs to be nursed back to health." "Why is it soup again?" Ning Shu was simply drunk. Ning Shu's lips twitched. He stared at Lu Changqing without blinking. He wondered if Lu Changqing had been reborn. "Why is your Majesty looking at Changqing like that?" Lu Changqing asked indifferently. Ning Shu originally wanted to smile, but his face was stiff and spasming. He could only say expressionlessly, "The Phoenix Queen is as elegant as when she was young." Lu Changqing didn't deny it. He brought the tonic soup to Ning Shu and said, "Your Majesty, drink the soup. It'll be greasy when it gets cold." Ning Shu shook his head and said, "Phoenix Queen, I don't want to drink such oily soup this early in the morning." Lu Changqing pursed his lips. In the end, he revealed a bitter smile. "Since your Majesty doesn't want to drink, then Changqing will drink it." Lu Changqing drank half a bowl of soup in front of Ning Shu. Ning Shu raised his eyebrows. What did Lu Changqing mean? Was he telling him that the soup he sent wasn't poisonous? Lu Changqing sighed. Ning Shu said, "Your Majesty, Changqing can see that your Majesty's body isn't in good condition right now. Changqing only hopes for your Majesty's health." Ning Shu drank a cup of water and suppressed the blood in his throat. "Thank you for your concern, Phoenix Queen. I just don't feel well. It's an old illness." Lu Changqing pursed his lips. After a while, he said, "Your Majesty, do you still eat pills?" Ning Shu didn't mind and nodded. "Of course. If I don't eat, I won't have the energy. There are so many political matters to deal with. Eating pills can make me feel better." Lu Changqing reached out his slender hand and wrapped it around Ning Shu's hand. Ning Shu faintly smelled his elegant scent. "Ning Shu, fuck, can you not shake hands? Can't you talk nicely?" Ning Shu could feel how stiff his hand was. The pain made his muscles extremely stiff. His pair of hands didn't have the smoothness and softness that a woman should have. But this Lu Changqing was still holding his hand. Chapter 549. Lu Changqing lowered his head to look at Ning Shu's hand. The veins were bulging and the joints were protruding. Ning Shu pulled his hand back and tucked it into his long sleeve. Lu Changqing looked at Ning Shu, his eyes rippling with light. He said, "Your Majesty, please drink some soup." Ning Shu was speechless. Soup, there was no end to this. He was speechless. Lu Changqing moved the bowl to Ning Shu's mouth. It looked like he was forcing Ning Shu to drink the soup. Ning Shu symbolically drank a mouthful. Lu Changqing then said, "Your Majesty, drink some more." Ning Shu furrowed his brows tightly and shook his head. "I don't want to drink anymore." Drinking into the stomach was a burden on the body. Lu Changqing pursed his lips and put down the bowl. He took Ning Shu's hand and lowered his head to look at Ning Shu's unsightly hands. "Your Majesty, your body really needs to be nursed. Pills will only empty your body." Ning Shu grunted. The two sank into silence again. Lu Changqing turned to the side and picked up the food box. Ning Shu said, "Your Majesty, Zhang Qing will leave first." Ning Shu grunted again. Lu Zhangqing's body paused for a moment before he finally left unhurriedly. As soon as Lu Zhangqing left, Ning Shu immediately leaned against a pillar. Holy shit, his legs were so weak that they couldn't stop shaking. "Your Majesty, Your Majesty." Autumn Maid hurriedly walked into the palace. Because she was in too much of a hurry, she tripped over the door sill. She said to Ning Shu, "Her Majesty Huang Si-Nu has left." Ning Shu suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. Autumn Maid hurriedly supported Ning Shu's stumbling body. Ning Shu wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. "What happened to Her Majesty Huang Si-Nu?" "Her Majesty Huang Si-Nu has left," Autumn Maid said sharply. "Nonsense, Old Fourth was still here when the morning court was held," Ning Shu said fiercely. "What's going on?" "The Crown Princess and the fourth Imperial daughter have gotten into an argument. I'm not sure what the exact reason is. The Crown Princess is in front of the palace right now." Maid Autumn came over to support Ning Shu. "Find a palanquin," Ning Shu said. Ning Shu sat in a palanquin as he was carried into the Imperial Palace. Mu Shui was kneeling on the ground while Mu Yao was lying on a stretcher covered with a white cloth. Beside the stretcher was a man in sky-blue clothes. The surrounding ministers were discussing spiritedly. Since such a big thing had happened, these ministers naturally had to come. Ning Shu endured the intense pain in his entire body as he walked over and lifted the white cloth, revealing Mu Yao's deathly pale face, and the clothes around her neck were stained with bloodstains. Imperial physician, come take a look at Old Fourth." Ning Shu shouted at the top of his lungs. Blood surged up from his throat, but it was forcefully swallowed by Ning Shu. The Imperial physician hurriedly examined Mu Yao and felt her pulse. After examining her pupils, he knelt and said to Ning Shu, "Her Majesty Huang Si-Nu has indeed passed away." The back of her head was struck by a great force. Ning Shu staggered twice as he stared fixedly at Mu Yao, who was on the stretcher, and he said with a hoarse voice, "What exactly happened?" The man kneeling beside Mu Yao's corpse, Ning Shu, kowtowed, and his voice carried bone-deep sorrow and hatred. "Your Majesty, the Empress Dowager can testify. Her Majesty was killed by the Crown Princess." Ning Shu's eyes were bloodshot, and the veins on his forehead were bulging. He looked exceptionally terrifying. "Crown Princess, what happened?" Ning Shu gasped for breath. "Give me a reason why you killed your own sister." Mu Shui's brows were tightly pressed together as she kowtowed and said sorrowfully, "Imperial Mother, I was wrongly accused. It was fourth Imperial sister who made the first move. I only pushed her away, and she fell to the ground." Ning Shu's body trembled violently. "She died from a push?" Mu Shui's expression was cold. "I don't know what happened either." "You don't know what happened, but do you think I know what happened?" Ning Shu was so angry that he laughed instead. He pulled the coiling dragon jade pendant from his waist and threw it at Mu Shui. Mu Shui originally wanted to dodge, but in the end, she didn't. The jade pendant smashed into her brow bone, instantly causing it to swell. The jade pendant fell to the ground and shattered into pieces. "You were under house arrest, so why did you run to Old Fourth's residence?" Ning Shu's eyes fiercely scraped at Mu Shui. "I told you to reflect on your actions, but you disobeyed the imperial decree. Crown Princess, you are simply lawless. Do you want to take my throne now?" Mu Shui repeatedly kowtowed and fearfully said, "I don't dare. I don't have such intentions." Mu Shui took a deep breath. Seeing Ning Shu looking at her with vigilance and disgust, she hurriedly kowtowed and repeatedly said, "I was wrongly accused." Ning Shu wiped his tears and fiercely said, "As the eldest sister, as the country's heir, you don't empathize with the people, and you don't love your sisters. With your conduct, how can I hand over the country of Xian to you? What reason did you have to disobey the imperial decree and run to Old Fourth's residence when you were under house arrest?" Ning Shu was somewhat unable to stand and his body staggered. Autumn Maid hurriedly supported Ning Shu and had someone bring a chair. Mu Shui knelt on the ground with her forehead touching the ground. She didn't say anything. Nothing she said right now would be wrong. Mu Shui glanced at Ning Shu, who was sitting on the chair with the corner of her eyes. Her expression was incomparably ferocious, as if she wanted to devour someone. Mu Shui's brows slightly revealed a trace of mockery. Losing your most beloved daughter, isn't it a heart-wrenching pain? Why did you two start arguing? Crown Princess, are you mute? Ning Shu's body trembled violently. Mu Shui tightly pursed her lips. She could say that she heard that there was a dragon robe in Old Fort's residence. It was confirmed that there was a craftsman who made the dragon robe for Mu Yao, so she took the risk to go to Old Fort's residence and had her subordinates search for traces of the dragon robe. When she went to Old Fort's residence, she saw Mu Yao and Yuan Lang eating breakfast. They were even feeding each other, so Mu Shui casually said, "The two of you are really loving each other." Mu Yao's face immediately changed. She angrily said to Mu Shui, "Eldest imperial sister, what do you mean? Is it wrong for an imperial sister to be loving her husband?" Perhaps it was because Mu Shui's voice had a trace of sarcasm, but Mu Yao keenly sensed it. She made a fuss and asked Mu Shui what she meant. Mu Shui was a little impatient. She stretched out her hand and pushed Mu Yao, who was making a fuss, away. Mu Yao staggered and fell, the back of her head hitting the corner of the table. Things developed too quickly. Even Mu Shui herself didn't react. Now Mu Shui was kneeling on the cold floor. Her heart was cold. She had been schemed against. But Mu Shui calmed down in an instant. She didn't say that she was wronged. She directly said, "It was this son who pushed Mu Shui, but this son didn't want to kill fourth imperial sister. This son isn't worthy of being the crown prince. Imperial mother, please depose this son." "Your Majesty, please calm down. How can a crown prince be deposed just like that?" The ministers all knelt to plead for mercy for Mu Shui and Ning Shu. "Your Majesty, deposing the crown prince will shake the foundation of the country. Please reconsider. Her Highness, the fourth imperial sister's matter was an accident." A minister stood up and bowed to Ning Shu with a board in his hand. Ning Shu glanced at the ministers kneeling on the floor and then at Mu Shui, who was kneeling on the floor and sincerely repenting. Threatening her. Chapter 550. Mu Shui wanted Ning Shu to cripple her, but that was only to retreat in order to advance. Then the ministers would put pressure on Ning Shu. Ning Shu looked at these people and said mockingly, "It was my daughter who died. You people are just standing there and talking. Mu Shui, your sister died because of you. Don't you feel guilty?" Mu Shui kowtowed to the ground. Her voice was muffled and nasal. "I never wanted to kill fourth sister. I don't deserve to be the crown prince. I beg you, mother, to cripple me." "Your Majesty, please reconsider." The ministers immediately cried out. Ning Shu looked exhausted. In the end, he waved his hand and said, "The crown princess is to reflect on her mistakes. Without my decree, she is not to take even half a step out of her residence." "I thank you for your grace, mother." Mu Shui kowtowed again. Ning Shu looked at Mu Yao on the stretcher. "Prepare a coffin for fourth princess." Ning Shu staggered as he walked. If it wasn't for Autumn Maid supporting him, Ning Shu would have fallen to the ground. Mu Shui looked at Ning Shu's back, her eyes deep. When she returned to her chambers, she collapsed on the bed without any strength. It was a long time before she said, "Bury fourth princess as quickly as possible." Autumn Maid answered, "Yes." Because there were no ready-made coffins, Ning Shu gave Mu Nishang's imperial coffin to Mu Yao. The ministers wanted to say that this was against etiquette, but when they saw Ning Shu's red eyes filled with coldness and hostility, they didn't dare say anything. In this matter, the crown princess was in the wrong. The crown princess was only grounded, but the fourth princess was dead. It was dangerous for them to speak up for the crown princess. They didn't dare provoke Ning Shu again. Fourth princess's body was placed in the coffin as quickly as possible. The next day, they were ready to bury her. The outside world only said that Her Majesty couldn't accept fourth princess's death. She just wanted to bury her quickly. She also wanted to protect the crown princess. Late at night, white sails were hung in the main hall. There was a weak oil lamp, and the bean-sized flame flickered occasionally. The gorgeous coffin was placed at the center, and it emitted a ghastly feeling. Ning Shu walked into the hall and pushed open the coffin with great difficulty, then she stretched out her hand to pat Mu Yao's face as she said, "Hey, you're awake." Mu Yao's face was pale. She wore gorgeous clothes and lay motionless in the coffin. Ning Shu pinched Mu Yao's nose. Mu Yao was at first, but in the end she couldn't hold it in. She opened her mouth to breathe. "My head." Mu Yao crawled up from the coffin with difficulty, and she rubbed the back of her head. "Imperial Mother, your son's head really hurts. Why didn't you bandage it for your son?" To die. Mu. Mu to die to be to be to die to die to be to be to die to be to die to be to be to be to be to be to be. Nail the coffin shut. Ning Shu ordered the two Mu. Ning Shu leaned against the pillar of the hall. He looked at Mu Yao, who kept touching the back of her head, and said, "Live well with Queen Mother in the future. He told me to go to the Imperial Mausoleum to guard your grave." Ning Shu felt that the current Queen Mother was different from the Queen Mother in the plot. The current Queen Mother suffered a lot of criticism because of her loss of chastity. She had to face strange looks wherever she went. No matter how much ambition he had in his heart, it was useless. Ning Shu could also see that Mu Yao's death was a blow to Queen Mother. After all, Mu Yao treated Queen Mother sincerely. When Queen Mother was in despair, Mu Yao didn't leave her side. She planned to spend the rest of her life in the desolate Imperial Mausoleum as a tomb-keeper. "Thank you, Queen Mother. I understand," Mu Yao said with a smile. "Thank you, Queen Mother, for everything you have done for me. Now, I'm going to go out and travel the world." Mu Yao said, "I'm going to travel the world with Queen Mother and the person I truly love." Fuck, what a good life. She was so jealous. She was so miserable. She didn't have long to live, yet she still had to worry about it every day. "Go out with the funeral procession tomorrow. I'll send people to protect you." Ning Shu instructed, "Don't let anyone discover you. Can you do it?" "I can do it." Mu Yao patted her chest and promised, "I definitely won't cause trouble for Queen Mother." Ning Shu watched as the Mu guards nailed the coffin shut. He patted Mu Yao's shoulder and turned to leave the hall. On the second day, Ning Shu looked at the long funeral procession that left the Imperial Palace, and Mu Yao was mixed in with the funeral procession. Mu Yao turned around to glance at Ning Shu, who stood high above, and she wanted to wave her hand and say goodbye. But when she considered the situation, she could only obediently follow the procession. Ning Shu breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Mu Yao leave the Imperial Palace. He sat on the sedan chair and returned to the Imperial Palace. Ning Shu didn't attend court for several days. Ning Shu didn't want to attend court in the first place, but now he found a reason. He was too sad about losing his daughter and didn't want to attend court. "I'll kill anyone who dares to attend court." This gave Ning Shu, who was struggling at death's door, a chance to rest. To Ning Shu's disappointment, this incident didn't remove the Crown Princess from the position of Crown Prince. This was clearly not enough. Moreover, the minister was so strongly opposed because Mu Yao was already dead. There was no need to sacrifice a living person for a dead person. The dead had no value. Besides, a living Mu Yao wasn't as valuable as Mu Shui. Mu Shui was grounded indefinitely by Ning Shu. Lu Chongqing didn't say anything and continued to deliver tonic soup to Ning Shu. He then held Ning Shu's ugly hand and instructed, "Your Majesty, you need to recuperate." Ning Shu was speechless. In any case, Ning Shu couldn't figure out what Lu Chongqing was up to. In the dead of night, Ning Shu caught Mu Qing, who had been left out in the cold for a long time. She was still wearing ordinary clothes of poor quality. Mu Qing looked wary and suspicious when she saw Ning Shu. She asked, "Why are you looking for me?" Mu Qing had been very cautious these days. She really didn't know what her nominal mother was up to. She had been left out in the cold. She had to be very careful in the cold palace. She had a feeling that this person was up to no good. Ning Shu looked at Mu Qing, who was like a hedgehog covered in spikes. He asked, "How have you been?" Mu Qing was speechless. Mu Qing's current mood could only be described as, "What the fuck?" He was asking her how she was doing. He was obviously mocking her. How could he toy with her like this? Mu Qing bared her teeth. I'm doing well. Very well. Ning Shu nodded and took out a memorial. Come and read it. Mu Qing scratched her head in annoyance. She picked up the memorial and read it. After reading it, Ning Shu asked her how to solve the problem. Mu Qing directly said that she didn't know. Ning Shu glanced at her and took out a memorial for her to read. After Mu Qing finished reading it, Ning Shu asked, "If it were you, how would you deal with this matter? What is the intention of the minister who submitted the memorial?" "I don't know," Mu Qing said directly. Ning Shu took out another memorial. "Read it again." Mu Qing could tell that if she didn't give a solution tonight, she would keep reading the memorial. Old Witch. Chapter 551. Ning Shu would only see Mu Qing at night and bring her back to the cold palace when the sun was about to rise. He didn't care how Mu Qing lived her life. He didn't care if she had enough to eat in the cold palace or not. In fact, Mu Qing was a very smart person. She had her own way of surviving in the cold palace. Mu Qing didn't dare to talk about this. She didn't dare to say that the empress made her read memorials every night and taught her how to rule the country. Mu Qing didn't know what the old witch meant, but she knew that if she talked about this, she would die without a burial place. Especially when there was still a crown prince. The old witch was putting herself on the fire. Mu Qing was trembling in fear even when she was in the cold palace. Ning Shu was quite satisfied with Mu Qing's reaction. If Mu Qing was arrogant, or if she wanted to show off, Ning Shu wouldn't have paid any attention to her. One must always be vigilant at all times. Ning Shu felt that she was suffering because she was not vigilant enough. Otherwise, she would not have been cursed by others and would not be in such a miserable state. The most depressing thing was 2333, the system. He didn't even tell him when he encountered cursed things. This thing doesn't even have a trace. I can't catch it at all. Don't push the blame to me. 2333 said unhappily. Ning Shu, it was Lolo's fault for being useless. Ning Shu felt that he was going to die soon because he couldn't walk at all. All the blood vessels in his body were bulging. His body was bruised. The rhythm of his heartbeat was completely messed up. Lu Changqing came to see Ning Shu. Seeing Ning Shu sitting on the chair without moving, he walked to Ning Shu's side and said, "Your Majesty, your body is unwell. Call the imperial doctor over." "I'm fine," Ning Shu said indifferently as he looked at the memorial in front of him. Lu Zhangqing reached out to hold Ning Shu's hand. Lu Zhangqing's fingers were long and slender, which made Ning Shu's hands even more pale. Ning Shu wanted to pull his hand back, but Lu Zhangqing held it. "Your Majesty, you are avoiding Zhangqing." Ning Shu didn't want to have anything to do with Lu Changqing. Lu Changqing Ning Shu asked, "Your Majesty, are we going to Phoenix Perch Palace tonight?" Ning Shu said, "I'm busy with government affairs, so I won't be going." Lu Changqing smiled elegantly. "Your Majesty, please take care of your health." Ning Shu nodded. Lu Changqing bowed and turned to leave. He slowly walked away, his temperament elegant. He finally left. Ning Shu spat out a mouthful of blood. He was so annoyed that Lu Changqing kept showing his presence. What was he trying to do? Ning Shu had just spat out blood when Lu Changqing came back. Ning Shu was so scared that he almost spat out blood again. Ning Shu's face twitched as he looked at Lu Changqing. He quickly asked, "Phoenix Empress, what are you?" Lu Changqing said, "From today onwards, Changqing will live with your Majesty and take care of your Majesty's health." Ning Shu, fuck. Living together is too much. Ning Shu said coldly, "I don't need the Phoenix Empress to take care of me. I know my own health very well." "Your Majesty, you don't know." Lu Changqing shook his head. "I already said that I don't need your care. If you really have so much free time, then teach your daughter well. Look at the things she does." "I don't even want to say anything," Ning Shu said coldly. Lu Changqing pursed his lips. A trace of hurt flashed across his face. In the end he said, "Your Majesty, why are you always so dissatisfied with Shui?" Dissatisfied? If Mu Shui was still the original Mu Shui, Ning Shu would have given her the throne. But now, Mu Shui's body was that of a man, and he seemed to be a mission enforcer. She had cursed him so viciously. Even if he had to use his last bit of strength, he had to drag someone down with him. The current situation was just like the plot. She was the same as Munisheng. In the end, she had to remove Mu Shui from the throne. Even if she couldn't, she wouldn't let Mu Shui become the empress so easily. I love her deeply. It's not that I'm dissatisfied with her, but the things she does always disappoint me. Mu Yao died because of her, but she doesn't have a trace of remorse. Instead, she threatened me to depose her. Is this an attitude of remorse? She's threatening me, Ning Shu said coldly. Don't bother me. I don't need you to take care of me. Ning Shu waved his hand. I have to deal with political matters. The imperial harem is not allowed to interfere. Phoenix Empress, are you going to watch me deal with political matters? Lu Changqing pursed his lips and said, It's Changqing who has overstepped. Lu Changqing bowed to Ning Shu and turned to leave. His back looked a little sad. Ning Shu didn't care at all. Help me to lie down on the bed. Ning Shu sat on the chair. His lower body didn't feel anything at all. It was as if it was numb. Even his blood didn't flow. Ning Shu chanted the clear heart incantation and fell asleep in a daze. When he woke up, Autumn Maid was standing beside the bed with a teacup in her hand. She said to Ning Shu, Your Majesty, there are bad rumors outside. Ning Shu's heart was calm. He took a sip of tea. What's the matter? There are rumors outside that Your Majesty's body can't take it anymore. Sun Yuthe. Autumn Maid knelt on the ground. Your Majesty, I swear that I didn't say anything. I've also warned my subordinates repeatedly. I don't know how the news got out. Ning Shu didn't care too much. There was no wall in the world that didn't have a crack. If he could hide it for a while, he would hide it for a while. Ning Shu didn't think that he could hide it forever. He went to court with his exhausted body. As a result, just as his butt touched the dragon throne, a group of ministers began to ask Ning Shu to take care of his body. They blabbered on and on. Then, they asked Ning Shu to release the crown princess from her confinement and let the crown princess govern the country. Ning Shu had the same expression from beginning to end. She was poisoned and couldn't take it anymore. It was probably because of Mu Shui's confinement. She couldn't even stay idle after being confined for half a month. This rumor was probably spread by Mu Shui. My body is very good. When I really die, I'll let her out to govern the country and be the empress. Ning Shu threw out a sentence and left. Ning Shu felt that he didn't have much time left. If nothing unexpected happened, he would definitely die within 10 days. Perhaps it was because of the final radiance of light. Ning Shu felt that his body didn't hurt as much and his spirit was quite good. At night, he stepped up his efforts to teach Mu Qing. Ning Shu only stuffed all the things in the original owner's head to Mu Qing. As for whether Mu Qing could understand, it was none of her business. Mu Qing was much calmer when she saw Ning Shu now. At least, she restrained her anger into her bones. She didn't call Ning Shu Mother Empress, but Your Majesty. Are you really going to die? Mu Qing looked at Ning Shu and asked. Ning Shu glanced at Mu Qing and spat a mouthful of black blood into the spittoon. Then he said, How long do you think I can live like this? Mu Qing, damn, it was so creepy. How could she say that he was going to die so easily? Old witch. Chapter 552. Mu Qing looked at Ning Shu with a conflicted expression and asked, Aren't you the empress? Why don't you find an imperial physician and let him take a look at your body? It would be a waste of time. Anyway, she can't be saved, so there's no need to waste time. Ning Shu said indifferently. I have already drafted the imperial edict to pass on the throne. Ning Shu handed Mu Qing a commander's seal. This is the commander's seal to mobilize the imperial guards of Xian City. I will think of a way to deal with the crown princess. If I don't have enough time, I will have to rely on you to fight with her. If you can't win and die, then you deserve it. Mu Qing was speechless. A woman's heart is the most vicious. She dragged me into this war and then killed me. How can this be compared to cheating others? Tomorrow, I will put you in front of everyone. From now on, you will be the 5th imperial daughter, Mu Qing. Ning Shu paused for a moment, took a breath and said, Prepare well. Mu Qing pursed her lips. Even if you do this, I still hate you in my heart. Whether you hate me or not is none of my business. If you want to hate me, then hate me. Ning Shu didn't really care. Mu Qing's heart was filled with helplessness. How can there be such a person? The next day, during the morning court, Ning Shu's hand was holding Mu Qing's hand. Mu Qing was wearing a brocade dress and looked more imposing than before. She also looked more beautiful. The Empress suddenly brought a woman with her. The expressions of the ministers were all uncertain as they looked at Mu Qing. Ning Shu directly said, "This is the 5th imperial daughter, Mu Qing. She has been living in the Cold Palace since she was young. Now, I have added her name to the imperial family's genealogy." The ministers all knelt down and said congratulations. However, no one knew what they were thinking. In any case, Mu Qing walked into the sight of the ministers. After announcing Mu Qing's identity, everything had to be done according to the rules. Ning Shu didn't arrange a luxurious palace for Mu Qing. Instead, he found a palace beside the Cold Palace for her to live in. When the Empress residence was built, she would move out. With such an attitude, the others couldn't tell if Ning Shu liked Mu Qing or if he didn't care about this newly minted 5th daughter at all. Ning Shu gave all his power to Mu Qing. If Mu Qing still couldn't defeat Mu Shui, then Ning Shu wouldn't be able to do anything about it. Ning Shu didn't expect to complete this quest in the first place. The rumors outside grew more and more intense, and they all said that Her Majesty the Empress would not live for much longer. The civil and military officials repeatedly begged Ning Shu to release Mu Shui, who was under house arrest, to govern the empire. Ning Shu sat calmly on Mount Tai, completely ignoring these people. "I'm about to die, why should I be afraid of you? If you want to die, then it's even better. We'll all die together." None of these ministers were willing to die. Now that Ning Shu was nearing the end of her reign, they wanted to curry favor with her. "Can you get an imperial physician to take a look?" Every time Mu Qing saw the old witch's half-dead appearance in front of her, she felt incomparably terrified and disgusted. This was especially so when she saw the old witch vomiting blood without batting an eyelid. It was simply challenging Mu Qing's fragile nerves. Ning Shu wiped the black blood from the corner of his mouth with a handkerchief and said indifferently, "Once you ascend the throne, you can deal with the people on this list as you see fit." Mu Qing curled her lips and said sarcastically, "Why do you think I'll ascend the throne? Look at how confident you are. Don't forget that you still have a legitimate successor. Then return the commander's seal to me?" Ning Shu glanced at Mu Qing, and Mu Qing immediately said, "You're the Empress. How can you be so capricious? How can you have the nerve to ask for something you've given to someone else? TSK, how pretentious." Ning Shu rolled his eyes. "I don't know what you're thinking, but you're still acting like this. Since you want to be the Empress, you should understand your responsibilities. Mu Qing, old witch. Is there really no cure for your illness?" Mu Qing bit her lip and asked, "I didn't see you take any medicine, and I didn't see you call the imperial physician. Don't give up on yourself." Ning Shu was speechless. If she could be cured, why would she give up on treatment? Ning Shu vomited a mouthful of black blood. The black blood was faintly smelly. His internal organs were probably starting to rot. "You haven't seen your eldest sister yet, right? I'll take you to see her." Ning Shu looked at Mu Qing as he spoke. He had a faint plan in his mind. Mu Qing almost jumped up. She couldn't help but say, "What are you up to? You want me to see the crown princess? Are you trying to draw the crown princess's attention to me? I won't go. Facing the crown princess makes my heart tremble. Pack up. In 2 days, you'll go to the crown princess's residence. You want to be the empress with this little courage? How are you going to face the civil and military officials in the future?" Ning Shu closed his eyes and silently chanted the clear heart mantra. Mu Qing could only let out a long sigh. She turned around and angrily walked away. Autumn Maid's eyes were red. She wiped away the yellow sweat on Ning Shu's forehead for him. "Your Majesty," Ning Shu opened his eyes and coldly said, "I don't have many days left. I will tell Mu Qing to take good care of you." Autumn Maid knelt on the ground and kowtowed. "Let me follow you, Your Majesty." When we are underground, I will still serve you. Don't be like this. I want to live more than anyone else. If you can live, then live. Don't die. Autumn Maid was truly loyal to Mu Nishang. Autumn Maid should be given a good old age. Thank you, Your Majesty. Autumn Maid stood up, wiping away her tears. Ning Shu ate a fasting pill to ensure his body had enough energy. Fortunately, Ning Shu always exchanged for necessities before entering a mission. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to last until now. Ning Shu lay on the bed. These few days when he was about to die allowed Ning Shu to sleep very well. He didn't know how long he slept. When he opened his eyes, he saw Lu Changqing's elegant face. When Ning Shu moved his body, black blood surged up his throat. Because Lu Changqing was beside him, Ning Shu tried his best to swallow the blood in his throat. However, blood still flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Lu Changqing saw the blood at the corner of Ning Shu's mouth. He took out a neatly folded handkerchief and wiped Ning Shu's mouth. He said in a sorrowful tone, "Your Majesty, you vomited blood." Ning Shu was speechless. Of course, he knew that he vomited blood. Ning Shu sat up with difficulty and said coldly, "I vomited for fun." Lu Changqing put away the bloody handkerchief and said in a strange tone, "Nishang, why are you always so stubborn?" "Ning Shu, call me Your Majesty." Lu Changqing took out a sandalwood box and opened it. There were a few small pills in the box that emitted a medicinal smell. Ning Shu smelled the medicinal smell and wanted to analyze what kind of pill it was. However, she could only smell a faint smell. Her sense of smell had already been destroyed. This curse didn't just cause pain. It had developed to the point where one would lose all 5 senses. Now, Ning Shu's vision had developed to the point where she couldn't differentiate between humans and beasts from 10 meters away. Her nose could only smell very faint smells. Therefore, she had no way of knowing if this pill was poison. Ning Shu looked at Lu Changqing warily and said, "I have political matters to attend to. Phoenix Empress, you can leave first." Lu Changqing looked at Ning Shu. "Your Majesty, don't use this excuse every time." Chapter 553. Ning Shu didn't know why Lu Zhangqing brought the pill over. Could it be that he wanted to poison her to death? In her current state, it would be a waste to feed her poison. She didn't have many days left to live, but she still had something to do. She couldn't die now. "Maid Qiu, Maid Qiu." Ning Shu called out for Maid Qiu. Lu Zhangqing saw the vigilance on Ning Shu's face and frowned. He said coldly, "Your Majesty, Zhangqing asked Maid Qiu to prepare hot water. Your Majesty can wash up when you wake up." Ning Shu became even more vigilant. He looked at Lu Zhangqing and said coldly, "What is the Phoenix Empress doing?" Lu Zhangqing laughed deeply. This was the first time Ning Shu heard him laugh. There was a hint of sadness in his laughter. He said, "Mu Nishang, I really hate you." Ning Shu was expressionless. He hated Mu Nishang. What did it have to do with her? However, Lu Zhangqing didn't seem normal now. Ning Shu shrank to the corner of the bed and said indifferently, "Phoenix Empress, what do you mean? Do you hate me?" Lu Zhangqing had an elegant smile on his face. He took out a pill and placed it by Ning Shu's mouth. He said, "Your Majesty, take the medicine." "No, I'm not taking it." Ning Shu turned his head away. Lu Zhangqing wasn't angry. He turned Ning Shu's face. "Your Majesty, this is the antidote. You've been poisoned." Oh my God. Ning Shu felt that his brain wasn't enough. She's been poisoned? Wasn't she cursed? Could it be that she was cursed and poisoned again? Both father and daughter poisoned her at the same time. Ning Shu was speechless. Poisoned? How could I be poisoned? Ning Shu shook his head. "I'm not taking this pill." Lu Zhangqing pursed his lips and took a pill for himself. Then he took another pill and brought it to Ning Shu's mouth. "Nai Shang, take the pill and your body will naturally recover." "You poison me?" Ning Shu looked at Lu Changqing. Ning Shu thought for a while but still couldn't figure out how Lu Changqing poisoned him. Could it be a tonic soup? Ning Shu remembered that he drank a mouthful of the tonic soup. Although Lu Changqing drank more than half a bowl, he still had the antidote in his hands. Lu Zhangqing did not refute. He only said, "Your Majesty, take the pill." Ning Shu was cursing in his heart. Could life be a little more bitter? However, the poison that Lu Changqing had given her had been neutralized. After all, she had taken the antidote. "Why did you poison me? Is it because of the crown princess?" Ning Shu asked Lu Zhangqing. He guessed that Lu Zhangqing had been reborn. Lu Changqing held the pill in his hand and said gently, "Your Majesty, take the pill. Changqing will tell you why." Ning Shu swallowed the pill. Even if it was poison, she still had the antidote. "Phoenix Queen, pour me a cup of water." Ning Shu looked at Lu Changqing. "I'm thirsty." Lu Changqing turned around to pour tea for Ning Shu. Ning Shu immediately stuffed the antidote into his mouth. Who knew if it was the antidote or poison? Ning Shu did not trust Lu Changqing from beginning to end. Lu Changqing brought the teacup to Ning Shu's mouth. "Your Majesty, have some tea." Ning Shu took a sip and did not drink any more. He asked, "Now, you should tell me when you poisoned me. Why did you poison me?" Lu Changqing lowered his eyes slightly and looked at the white porcelain teacup in his hand. He said calmly, "Your Majesty, I had a dream. I dreamed that I was sent to the cold palace by Your Majesty. Your Majesty killed the crown princess." Lu Changqing looked up at Ning Shu. "Your Majesty, this dream was very real. When I woke up, my heart was filled with hatred and resentment. When I was in the most pain, I poisoned Your Majesty." Ning Shu, "So, you wanted to take revenge on me. Why are you giving me the antidote now? What was the point of being so fickle? The heavens had given him a second life, so he should strive for it. If he wanted to take revenge, he should take it." Lu Changqing said calmly, "When I hated you the most, I poisoned Your Majesty when I woke up from the dream. What I want to see the most is Your Majesty dying slowly and being tortured to death. This poison will slowly drain a person's spirit until they die of convulsions." Even though he was speaking viciously, Lu Changqing's voice was still very elegant. Ning Shu was expressionless. "When did you poison me?" "From when you ate the pill," Lu Changqing said calmly. This meant that Lu Changqing had already poisoned Mu Nishang before she had even entered the mission. No wonder she felt so uncomfortable when she entered this body. Her pulse was also weak. She had thought that it was because she ate too many pills, but it turned out that there was something else in the pill. Ning Shu pursed her lips. If Lu Changqing was not the mission enforcer, then the mission enforcer must be the person in Mu Shue's body. Ning Shu had been thinking about how she had come into contact with the carrier of the curse. Now that she thought about it, Mu Shue had also given her a box of pills. She must have been cursed at that time. They poisoned her at the same time and used pills at the same time. Ning Shu lit a candle for herself. She had suffered this pain for Mu Nishang. "Why are you giving me the antidote now?" Ning Shu asked Lu Changqing. "Wasn't this unnecessary?" Lu Changqing frowned. "Your Majesty, I don't hate you now. I hate myself. I hate myself for not being ruthless enough. I hate you for hurting me and the crown princess, but in the end, you realized that you were the one who was torturing yourself." Ning Shu was speechless. Fuck, why did he have to use it? He had to use a strong one. One dose and she would die. He didn't have to regret it. When a person lost their rationality due to hatred, they would gnash their teeth and wish for nothing more than to destroy the world. However, as time passed, this hatred would gradually begin to disappear. So Lu Changqing regretted it now and wanted to use the antidote to save her? But in a few days, she would still be dead. "Your Majesty, the hot water is ready." Autumn Maid walked in and bowed to Ning Shu. She then bowed to Lu Changqing. Lu Changqing lowered his eyes. Ning Shu said to Lu Changqing calmly, "Phoenix Empress, you should go back. Stay in Phoenix Resting Palace and don't come out. Think about it." "I understand." Lu Changqing stood up and left. The jade pendant and Xiangfei's bamboo flute made a special sound when they collided. What could Ning Shu say? Relationships were always so messy. "Where did you go? Don't you know my situation?" Ning Shu asked Autumn Maid. "When did the Phoenix Empress come?" Autumn Maid immediately knelt down and begged for forgiveness. The Phoenix Empress came not long after your majesty fell asleep. The Phoenix Empress asked me to prepare the hot water, but something happened and I was delayed. Ning Shu rubbed his brows. Lu Changqing had purposely sent Autumn Maid away. Ning Shu directly issued a decree that Lu Changqing was grounded for a month to prevent him from causing trouble again. Lu Changqing didn't say anything after being grounded by Ning Shu. He didn't expect a good outcome. It was just like in his dream. He would be banished to the cold palace and only grounded. The Phoenix Empress and the Crown Princess were both grounded, which made the atmosphere a bit strange. Ministers constantly sent up memorials to lift the Crown Princess and the Phoenix Empress confinement. Ning Shu simply threw these memorials to the side and ignored them. She could do whatever she wanted. These things could not threaten her. Chapter 554. After Ning Shu grounded the Phoenix Empress in Phoenix Perch Palace, she never went to see him again. Seeing him made things even more awkward. In the end, Lu Zhangqing took out the antidote because he still had Mu Nishang in his heart. His heart was probably in a tangle of love and hate. He could have not taken out the antidote, but in the end he still took it out. It was one thing if he took out the antidote. He could have given it to her without anyone knowing. But he confessed everything. It was like a broken pot smashing a broken pot. Lu Zhangqing obediently stayed in Phoenix Perch Palace. He did not make a fuss. He was very calm. No matter how one looked at it, it was like his heart was dead. Ning Shu dragged his zombie-like stiff body to court. The officials once again reported that the grounded Crown Princess was released. Ning Shu glanced at Mu Qing, who was trying her best to hide her presence. He lightly said, "Speaking of which, I haven't seen the Crown Princess in a long time." Ever since Mu Qing's identity as the fifth daughter of the emperor was announced, she had the qualifications to attend the imperial court. Now that she saw Ning Shu's gaze on her, Mu Qing's back straightened and the hair on her back stood up. Mu Qing knew that this old witch was always ready to push her into the pit. After living in the cold palace for so many years, Mu Qing believed in keeping a low profile and protecting herself. She didn't even say a word when she was in the imperial court. "You all come with me to see the Crown Princess." Ning Shu stood up and endured the pain. He dragged his body that was about to fall apart and slowly walked down the steps. The officials saw that Ning Shu wanted to go to the Crown Princess residence to see the grounded Crown Princess. They were a bit surprised, but they still followed. Ning Shu sat on the palanquin and said to Mu Qing, who was walking behind her, "Old 5, come to Zhen's side." Mu Qing glanced at Ning Shu and found that she was looking at her with a doting expression. Her eyes were gentle and tolerant. Mu Qing almost vomited blood. Hearing the cold snorts from the second and third princess, Mu Qing could only curse the old witch in her heart. Mu Qing slowly walked to the side of the carriage. Ning Shu said to Mu Qing, "Old 5, you haven't seen your big sister, right?" "No," Mu Qing whispered. "Mother Empress will take you to see eldest imperial sister." Ning Shu comforted Mu Qing. "Your eldest imperial sister is a kind person." Mu Qing thought she didn't want to go at all. This old witch was sending her to the tip of the blade. Don't think that she didn't know how the fourth princess died. Didn't she die at the hands of the Crown Princess? A kind person? Ha! Mu Qing squeezed out 2 dry laughs from her throat. With Ning Shu in the lead, the large group arrived in front of the Crown Princess's residence. Official Autumn went up and knocked on the door. Soon, Mu Shui came out to greet Ning Shu. Mu Shui was dressed in black, and her hair was tied into a ponytail. She knelt on the ground with her head lowered, and it was hard to tell if she was a man or a woman. "Your son respectfully welcomes Mother Empress." Ning Shu bowed. Ning Shu made a sound of acknowledgement. He sized up the Crown Princess's residence. Her soul had changed, and so had her living habits. Some of the flowers and potted plants had become Luohan pines, and the beaded curtains in the pavilion had been taken down. The style had become much more robust. "We have come to see you." Ning Shu held official Autumn's hand and walked into the main hall. He sat down and asked, "How has your reflection been in the residence recently?" Mu Shui's face was filled with sincere remorse. Her eyes were filled with admiration for Ning Shu. She said, "Your son knows his mistake." Ning Shu ignored Mu Xue's admiring gaze. He pushed Mu Qing, who was beside him. Mu Qing was suddenly pushed out, and she stumbled and almost fell to the ground. "Crown Princess, this is the 5th princess, Mu Qing. She used to live in the cold palace. We saw that she was living a sinful life, so we took her in." Ning Shu introduced Mu Qing to Mu Xue. Mu Qing's face twitched. She hurriedly bowed to Mu Xue. "Mu Qing greets your highness, Crown Princess." Mu Xue's gaze swept over Mu Qing's face. Her brows slightly furrowed, but they quickly relaxed. She bowed to Mu Qing and said, "Greetings, 5th Imperial younger sister." Mu Qing's face stiffened and trembled. She then retreated to Ning Shu's side. Mu Qing, who had lived in the cold palace since she was young, was very observant. She could keenly sense the malice in other people's emotions. She felt that the crown princess's gaze was filled with deep coldness, and there was also a hint of ridicule in it. Ning Shu smiled gently and said, "This child is very obedient. We quite like her." Mu Qing, old witch, ever since that child Mu Yao left, there was no one by my side to talk to. Fortunately, I have this child by my side to talk to me. Ning Shu looked at Mu Qing with a kind gaze. "Please don't say any more." Mu Qing felt her eyelids twitching. She lowered her head and looked bashful. Mu Xue narrowed her eyes. First, it was Mu Yao. Now, there was someone like Mu Qing. Mu Xue sneered in her heart. Ning Shu stood up. "We came to see you. We thought you had reflected on your actions, so we took the opportunity to borrow your confinement order. But now, Crown Princess, you should continue to be confined. We don't think you have repented at all." Mu Xue knelt on the ground and said with a frown, "Imperial Mother, this child really knows her wrongs. This child is truly regretful about 4th Imperial younger sister's matter. This child has never thought of harming 4th Imperial younger sister." Ning Shu said coldly, "You're not being honest. We asked you why you went to Mu Yao's residence, but you didn't tell us. What made you go to 4th Imperial younger sister's residence? We want to hear the reason." Mu Xue's eyes flashed, making her eyes seem even darker. She hesitated for a moment before saying, "This child heard that 4th Imperial younger sister's residence has dragon robes." Impudent! Ning Shu grabbed the teacup on the table and smashed it at Mu Xue's head. Mu Xue swayed slightly and dodged the teacup. The teacup fell to the ground and shattered into pieces. The tea spilled on the ground and steamed. Ning Shu thought, "Fuck, you dare to dodge?" "Imperial Mother, this child also heard about it, so I wanted to go to 4th Imperial younger sister's residence to confirm it." When Mu Xue said this, her heart was full of regret. She shouldn't have gone to 4th Imperial younger sister's residence. At that time, she was certain that there was a dragon robe in 4th Imperial younger sister's residence. It was because she thought, "Your beloved daughter secretly hid a dragon robe in her residence. She looks pure and innocent, but she's also a scheming person." Mu Xue went to 4th Imperial younger sister's residence, but she didn't expect such a thing to happen. "Then did you find the dragon robe?" Ning Shu looked coldly at Mu Xue. Mu Xue pursed her lips and shook her head. "At that time, this child didn't look for the dragon robe. Why didn't you tell me about this matter? Why did you deal with it in private? Crown Princess, as the heir to the throne, there are many people watching your every move. For a groundless matter, you went against the imperial edict and did such an impulsive thing. I think you need to be grounded and reflect on yourself." "Your Majesty, please calm down." The ministers in the courtyard all knelt down and begged for mercy for Mu Xue. "Your Majesty, Crown Princess only did this because she wanted to know the truth." Chapter 555. Ning Shu was very impatient with these officials. They were paid a salary, yet they still wanted to use numbers to control her, the Empress. They all wanted to leave their names in history. Why didn't they just go bang their heads against the wall? Kneeling down scared her to death. The Crown Princess's prestige in the court is quite high. So many people are pleading for you. Ning Shu's lips twitched. "Good ability, forming a clique for personal gain. Ning Shu pointed at the officials. You. Are you saying that I, the Empress, can be disobeyed at will? That you can disobey my orders on impulse? That you can disobey my orders when you have no other choice? One after another, the focus was blurred. We don't dare. The officials knelt on the ground and kowtowed, not daring to say anything else. Mu Shui frowned and glanced at Ning Shu. She was a bit puzzled as to why he had come here today. Mother Empress, I was wrong. I didn't think before doing things. Mu Shui kowtowed again. I will reflect on my actions. Ning Shu sneered and said coldly, the Crown Princess really loves her officials. I only scolded these officials a bit, and the Crown Princess immediately took all the blame. She even tried to kill her own sister. Mu Shui clenched her fists. Her face was gloomy. She quickly glanced at Ning Shu and saw the disgust and ridicule on her face. Mu Shui's heart was full of doubts. Why wasn't this woman dead yet? It shouldn't be. I was wrong. Mu Shui didn't know what else to say. No matter what she said, the other party would find fault with it. Ning Shu had spoken so much that her body couldn't take it anymore. She could only sit down and tremble. Mu Qing looked at Ning Shu with a complicated expression. This old witch was usually half dead, but now she was so energetic. She was probably just holding on. Ning Shu's throat was bleeding. He glanced at official Autumn, and she immediately brought a cup of tea to Ning Shu. Ning Shu gulped down the tea and swallowed the blood in his throat. After drinking a cup of tea, Ning Shu coldly snorted. If there's a next time, I will depose you of the Crown Prince. If you don't reflect on yourself and restrain yourself, I will depose you even if it means risking the country's foundation. Lao, let's go, Ning Shu said to Mu Qing, who was standing there like a pillar. Mu Qing instantly felt the Crown Princess's gloomy gaze sweep across her face. What was this old witch trying to do? Was he deliberately trying to pit her against the Crown Princess? Mu Qing felt that she did not have the power to go against the Crown Princess. Although she had the power given to her by the old witch, she did not have the same prestige as the Crown Princess. From what happened just now, it could be seen that if anything happened to the Crown Princess, most of the ministers would kneel down and plead for her. Mu Qing silently estimated her chances of winning against the Crown Princess. Now, the old witch was purposely drawing hatred for her. Mu Qing felt that the old witch wanted to kill her. If she could become the Empress, that would be good. Otherwise, she would become someone else's whetstone. The old witch was so vicious, purposely wanting them to kill each other. What are you standing there for? Let's go. Although Ning Shu was urging Mu Qing, his tone was full of love and tolerance. When Mu Qing heard this, her legs became weak. The old witch was not like this when they were in private. There was no need to mention how cold she was. Now, she was acting like a loving mother with sinister intentions. Mu Shui was kneeling on the ground. When she saw Ning Shu's attitude towards the Crown Princess, she frowned. She could not understand why Mu Nishang did not like Mu Shui. They were both children, so why was there such a big gap? Mu Qing quickly walked to Ning Shu's side and stood behind Ning Shu to reduce her presence. Ning Shu looked at her and rolled his eyes. Even if he did not want to, he had to. Mu Qing felt Ning Shu's evil eyes again. She wanted to vomit blood. This old witch had a grudge against her, and it was revenge for being rude to her. Ning Shu walked to the door and seemed to remember something. He said to Mu Qing, "You go out first. I have something to say to the Crown Princess." Mu Qing immediately went out and closed the door. Only Ning Shu and Mu Shui were left in the room. Ning Shu sighed and said to the kneeling Mu Shui, "Get up." "Thank you, Mother." Mu Shui stood up. "Mother, what do you have to say to me?" "Actually, it's nothing." Ning Shu took Mu Shui's hand. She lowered her head and looked at Mu Shui's fair and smooth hand. Then she looked at her own paws. Ning Shu's heart felt unbalanced. Mu Shui looked at Ning Shu in confusion. She did not understand what was wrong with this person. She wanted to pull her hand away, but he held it tightly. Ning Shu calculated in her heart that she was no match for Mu Shui, who was strong and healthy. Ning Shu took a deep breath, then took out a dagger and stabbed it into his heart. A mouthful of black blood sprayed on Mu Shui's face. He opened his mouth and screamed. Mu Shui immediately understood Ning Shu's intention. She tried to break free from Ning Shu's hand, but he held on tightly. Ning Shu used the last of his strength to not let go of Mu Shui's hand. Mu Shui sucked in a cold breath. She kicked Ning Shu. Ning Shu spat out black blood. He held on tightly to Mu Shui's hand. His nose was blocked by the black blood. He could not breathe. Even if I die, I won't let go of you. I won't be able to complete my mission. You can forget about it. The people outside heard the screams in the room. Mu Qing was the first to open the door. What she saw was the crown princess committing a crime. Everyone was shocked. Mu Qing shouted, "Crown princess, you dare to commit a crime against the imperial mother? Imperial physician, quickly call an imperial physician." Mu Shui's face was stained with black blood. Her hands seemed to be bound by a giant iron chain. She could not pry open Ning Shu's hand. "You're so evil." Ning Shu spat out black blood. He said with difficulty, "Depose the crown princess." Mu Shui was shocked. She looked at Ning Shu in a daze. Even if he died, he wanted to drag her down with him. "Ding! You have left the mission world." The voice of 2333 sounded. Ning Shu's soul was instantly ejected from Mu Nishang's body. At this moment he could no longer feel pain. Killing the emperor and mother? Everyone looked at Mu Shui's bloody face. There was only one thought in their mind. The crown princess was about to die. Mu Shui's face flashed with gloom. She tried to pry open the hand holding her, but no matter how hard she tried, she could not. Her fingernails dug into her flesh. Mu Shui was shocked by this. Mu Qing took out the Imperial Guard's seal and had the Imperial Guards capture Mu Shui. Mu Shui looked at the seal in Mu Qing's hand and said coldly, "How dare you? I am the crown princess. Who dares to touch me? Mu Shui, you killed your sister and mother. This is a heinous crime." Before the Imperial Mother died, she said she wanted to depose the crown princess. Mu Qing waved at the Imperial Guards. The Imperial Guards rushed into the room and surrounded Mu Shui. Chapter 556. Mu Shui dragged the corpse and was surrounded by so many people. It was difficult for her to escape. In the end, she was detained by the Imperial Guards. However, Mu Nishang's hand was still tightly holding onto Mu Shui's lifeless body. She tried for a long time but couldn't pull her away. The ancient people believed in ghosts and gods. They said that the Empress's soul was entangled in Mu Shui's body. That was why she was holding onto the crown princess so tightly. In the end, it took a lot of effort to pull the two apart. Mu Nishang's hand was fixed in place. She couldn't close her fingers or stretch them out. Her death looked very miserable. There were a few bruises on Mu Shui's wrist. They were all caused by someone. How much hatred did someone have to have for her to be like this? Mu Shui was thrown into prison. Mu Qing took out the imperial edict. After burying the empress, she ascended the throne as quickly as possible. However, Mu Qing's ascension to the throne didn't go smoothly. First of all, the court officials were not convinced by Mu Shui, especially since Mu Qing was a child in the Cold Palace. Her father was a concubine who was demoted to the Cold Palace. Her status was low. Mu Qing followed the list that Ning Shu gave her. First, she made a court official as an example to others. Just in case, Mu Qing wanted to kill Mu Shui in the prison. Mu Qing didn't dare to be careless against someone who could make the old witch risk her life. Mu Qing guessed that the old witch knew that she wouldn't live for long, so she decided to frame her death on Mu Shui. Therefore, Mu Shui had to die. What's more, there were rumors that she wasn't the daughter of the previous empress. This kind of rumor was very unfavorable for her. Moreover, this rumor was true. It said that she was the child of her father and a female official. She didn't have the empress's bloodline. Therefore, Mu Shui was qualified to inherit the throne. Mu Qing knew that she had already reached this point. There was no turning back. It was all because of the old witch. The old witch was probably very proud now. This was the result she wanted. In order to stabilize her position and not let the civil and military officials think about Mu Shui, the crown prince, Mu Qing publicly tried Mu Shui and made a big deal out of the fact that she killed her sister and mother. She wanted the civil and military officials to see how such a person could be the emperor. How could such an inhumane person be fit to be the empress? Mu Shui only looked at Mu Qing coldly and sneered, "You're just a lowly person who took over a magpie's nest. I don't deserve to be the empress, but do you? You're just the child of a lowly female official. How dare you compare yourself to me?" Mu Qing also had doubts in her heart. She suspected that she wasn't the old witch's child, but she didn't show any expression on her face. She said faintly, "I am the late empress' child." How can the country's affairs be trifled with? Mother Empress wouldn't make such a rash decision. Imperial Mother will pass down the throne to Zhen. Zhen will be a child of the Mu family. Instead, it was you who did such a crazy thing because you were afraid that Imperial Mother would cripple you. In the end, Mu Shui was beheaded. It wasn't that Mu Shui didn't want to fight, but she didn't have as many resources as Mu Qing. Mu Nikhang gave the commander's seal to Mu Qing. Political power came from the barrel of a gun. She had to have power. Other than the position of crown prince, she didn't have any other advantages. The winner was the king, and the loser was the bandit. Even if Mu Qing didn't have Mu Nishang's bloodline, she was still the one sitting on the throne. After Mu Shui died, Mu Qing had a grand funeral. It was as grand as an emperor's funeral. After Mu Shui's death, Lu Changqing of Phoenix Palace committed suicide. Mu Qing had no choice but to hold another grand funeral. She held 3 funerals in 1 month. Zhang Jiasun returned to the system. The system said in a cold, mechanical voice, "The mission this time failed." Zhang Jiasun rubbed his forehead and said faintly, "I'm not used to a woman's body. I suspect Mu Nichang's identity." "It's a mission enforcer," the system said coldly. Zhang Jiasun pursed his lips and asked, "Can you find out who it is?" "The support systems are independent of each other. I can't find out the information of other mission enforcers." The system's voice was cold and mechanical. Zhang Jiasun felt that this mission enforcer was familiar. Her every move was familiar. If he wasn't wrong, it should be meow meow meow. That mission enforcer committed suicide. Did her mission fail? Zhang Jiasun asked the system. "I'm not sure," the system replied. Zhang Jiasun sighed. The reason he was able to keep his life this time was because he had obtained a treasure before. However, this treasure had now disappeared into thin air, blocking the power of being obliterated. Zhang Jiasun's mind was filled with the scene of Mu Nikhang committing suicide. The veins on the hand that was grabbing him were bulging. It was terrifying. Looking at the hand that was no longer human, it was too crazy. Someone who should have died long ago was cursed for such a long time. She was able to endure the pain of the curse. Zhang Jiasun suddenly laughed. He had fallen for the same person twice. Zhang Jiasun felt that he would meet this person again in the future. The hatred between the 2 times could not be resolved so easily. One must know that enemies often cross paths. Zhang Jiasun muttered Meow Meow Meow's name. His voice was very strange. After Ning Shu returned to the system space, he fell into a deep sleep. He had never been so tired in a world. Even though he had left Mu Nichang's body, he still felt pain. The pain was so painful that Ning Shu did not dare to think about it. He was quite proud of himself for being able to endure it. After sleeping for an unknown amount of time, Ning Shu woke up and stretched. He looked down and saw that his soul was much stronger than before. It was much denser. Ning Shu, was this the compensation for the pain? 2333, what's going on? I feel like my soul is much stronger than before. Ning Shu asked 2333 in surprise. 2333 said, "It's like forging iron. After experiencing pain, if you can endure it, you will be reborn. If you can't, your soul will collapse. Some people are strong, some people are weak. That's how it is. Congratulations, your stubborn persistence made your soul much stronger than before," 2333 said happily. "The stronger the soul, the less emotional the client will be affected." Ning Shu nodded. He had gained something. This mission was really fucked up. He even wasted 35 merit points to exchange for an amulet. His heart hurt. Ning Shu's heart hurt more than if he had been cursed. After doing so many missions, merit points were the rarest thing. After doing so many missions, he only had so little merit points. He did not expect to use it in such a situation. She wanted to commit suicide. Ning Shu said casually, "Let's see the points this time. You didn't have much hope for this mission. You didn't even complete the mission. You just wanted to see how many points you had and see if you could exchange them for a curse resistance aura." Ning Shu did not want to be in so much pain anymore. The pain made his heart feel cold. He did not want her to know who the mission enforcer in Mu Shue's body was, or she would kill him. Chapter 557. 2333 brought up the status panel and said, "Just treat this mission as a wasted trip." Ning Shu did not have much hope in the first place. This world was a huge loss. Ning Shu looked at the status panel. Number 23333 name, Ning Shu, beginner mission taker, age, 27 points, 1, 550, 000/100, 000 soul, 300 HP, 71 wisdom, 170 charm, 3 luck, 44 spirit, 120 faith, 2, 920 potential, 39 martial strength, 112 merit, 15 skills, 5th ring shooting technique, trash fighting technique, beginner martial arts, beginner poison technique, beginner business management knowledge, beginner code programming, beginner lawyer skills honorable title, goddess of war, selfless ancestor items, calm aura, amulet aura, mother of the world, queen's blessing, sister model worker, Qinshi's blessing, leader aura, grass blessing, best friend for life, Miao Miao Miao's blessing, fulfill Mu Nichang's wish, choose a new successor. Mission completion, 60%. Obtained 100,000 points, 1 attribute point, 20 faith, 5 merit. Ning Shu looked at the 100,000 points, 1 attribute point, 1 attribute point, 1 point. Ning Shu was surprised that the mission completion was 60%. This meant that the mission was not considered a failure. The amulet was still in her inventory. This meant that the mission was not a failure. She saved an amulet. She did not care about the points. As long as she had the amulet, her life was guaranteed. The reason why Ning Shu was able to commit suicide so easily was because of the existence of the amulet that allowed her to keep her life. Ning Shu asked 2333, "Didn't I fail the mission?" "I guess Mu Nikhang saw how pitiful you were and let you pass the mission." Mu Nikhang herself did not want to reverse her life and chose to reincarnate. 2333 explained. Ning Shu nodded. Sure enough, he had to hold on to everything. No matter what the outcome was, if he had listened to 2333 and killed himself, then the quest would have failed. Mu Nishang is not happy that you gave the throne to Mu Qing. Mu Qing is not Mu Nishang's child at all. How can Mu Nishang not know if she gave birth to this child? 2333 said angrily. What are you thinking? Ning Shu, what the hell? Fuck, what was going on? The Phoenix Empress had told her that Mu Qing was the child of a concubine who had been banished to the Cold Palace, and then she had imagined Mu Qing as Mu Nishang's child. Ning Shu covered his face in a fancy way. Fortunately, in the female supreme country, it was a woman who ascended to the throne. Ning Shu was about to distribute the attribute points when he saw the 1 attribute point. 1 attribute point, dim. Ning Shu felt hopeless and added 1 attribute point to charm. Serial number 23333 name, Ning Shu, beginner mission taker, age, 27 points, 1. 65 million soul value, 300 HP, 71 wisdom, 170 charm, 31 luck, 44 MP, 120 faith, 49 aptitude, 39 martial strength, 112 merit, 6 skills, 5th ring shooting technique, trash fighting technique, beginner martial arts, beginner poison technique, beginner business management knowledge, beginner code programming, beginner lawyer skills honorable title, goddess of war, selfless ancestor tools, calm aura, amulet aura, mother of the world, queen's blessing, model worker, Qinshi's blessing, leader aura, grass blessing, best friend, Miao Miao Miao's blessing, After setting up the attribute points, Ning Shu walked around in a flirtatious manner. She asked 2333, I've added charm points. Do you think I've become prettier? 2333, system notification, 2333 doesn't want to talk to you, and threw a pile of poop at you. Ning Shu pursed his lips and opened the system shop. He wanted to see if there was anything that could resist curses. That way, he wouldn't be so passive in the future. After browsing for a while, Ning Shu found the curse that Mu Shui used on him. It was quite expensive, costing 500,000 points. Using 500,000 points to buy a one-time use item, he was definitely rich. Ning Shu looked around and saw the Faith Aura, which could resist curses and soul attacks from others. However, the Faith Aura wasn't redeemable with points, but with faith. It felt like good things weren't redeemable with points. The Faith Aura required 40 points of faith, and Ning Shu only had 49 in total. Ning Shu was a little hesitant. He asked 2333, is it worth it for 40 points of faith? 2333 was silent for a moment. Faith is a very precious thing. It's the pure faith in a person's heart. Many intermediate mission takers don't have faith. Ning Shu frowned. Does 2333 mean it's not worth it? Why don't you go to the virtual space and see if there's anything cheaper? Ning Shu suggested. There are a lot of things in the virtual space. Ning Shu thought for a moment and closed the system shop. He stood in the virtual space channel and after a moment of dizziness, he appeared in the virtual space. This time, Ning Shu didn't wander around blindly. He went to the store and saw the information, prices, and trading methods of the products in the virtual space. Ning Shu's fingers swiped across the interface and saw the Faith Aura. The price was only 1 point cheaper than the system shop. The store owner saw Ning Shu staring at the Faith Aura and said with a smile, "Little girl, you like this aura? It can resist all curses. It's very powerful." Ning Shu smiled and said, "It's too expensive and it uses faith. But it's very practical." The store owner saw that Ning Shu really wanted it, so he quickly said, "If you buy this Faith Aura, I'll give you a string of prayer beads." The store owner took out the prayer beads from a box. The prayer beads were made of a string of clear beads. Ning Shu took the prayer beads and felt a cool air invade her soul. Her heart became clear, and the negative emotions in her heart slowly disappeared. This is a good thing. Ning Shu's expression didn't change. He asked 2333 in his mind, "What are these prayer beads? They look good." "It's okay. It can remove some negative emotions." "That's all," 2333 said. Ning Shu returned the prayer beads to the store owner and shook his head. "I only have 35 faith. Can I trade the Faith Aura?" From the store owner's attitude, Ning Shu could see that faith was very precious. The store owner looked like he was struggling. In the end, he shook his head. Ning Shu wasn't disappointed. He planned to go to other stores. Chapter 558. Ning Shu planned to take a look at other shops. If she couldn't get it, she might return to this shop. After all, Ning Shu quite liked the rosary beads, which could calm her mind. Seeing that Ning Shu was about to leave, the shop owner gritted his teeth and said, "Okay, 35 points of faith." "And a rosary beads," Ning Shu said happily. The shop owner's face trembled. Ning Shu paid 35 points of faith and had 14 points of faith left. Sure enough, things in the virtual space were cheaper. Ning Shu put on the rosary beads and immediately felt calm. The rosary beads were quite beautiful, round and full. After leaving the shop, Ning Shu went to a restaurant and ordered some food to satisfy her appetite. Ning Shu saw that the others were in groups of 3 or 5, and there were people who were sharing tables. However, she was always alone. She didn't have any friends she could talk to. It was as if the mission enforcers she met were all enemies. Forget it. Friends were not things like that. Instead of thinking about catching horses every day, it was better to plant grass now. In the future, there would be many horses coming to eat grass. When she became stronger, she would meet like-minded people. After eating a table full of dishes, Ning Shu wandered around the city for a while. She hadn't noticed before that there were casinos and arenas in the virtual space, and many mission enforcers participated in gambling. Ning Shu saw a mission enforcer lose everything and use his soul to gamble. In the end, he lost and only had his soul origin left. His soul was as thin as a bubble, which could burst with a poke. It would be difficult to enter the mission enforcer's body in such a state. Ning Shu felt that mission enforcers, even if they had become mission enforcers and had eternal life, were still humans. The bad habits of humans were also deeply buried in mission enforcers. The people in the casino saw Ning Shu stretch her neck and look around. They looked up and down at Ning Shu's soul. It was a rare tenacity. Ning Shu asked, "Little girl, do you want a few rounds?" Ning Shu quickly waved his hand. "I'm just looking around." After saying that, Ning Shu left the casino. She didn't want to touch this kind of thing. If she couldn't even resist this kind of temptation, how strong could she be? After walking around, Ning Shu returned to the system space. First, he sat cross-legged on the carpet and cultivated for a while. He only stopped when he could no longer absorb the materials in the system space. Then, Ning Shu took a book from the bookshelf. Her goal was to finish reading all the books on the bookshelf. Ning Shu couldn't feel the passage of time. He didn't know how much time had passed. He flipped through the book until he reached the last page. Then, he closed the book and placed it on the bookshelf. He watered the potted plants and ran on the treadmill. He touched here and there. He wasn't in a hurry at all. Ning Shu opened the exchange store and exchanged for basic survival items: fasting pills, water, medicine, antidote pills, fake death medicine, and some realgar powder. Ning Shu discovered that the faking death medicine was a good thing. After exchanging the basic items, Ning Shu said to 2333, "Let's start the mission." 2333 immediately said. Ning Shu's head was dizzy for a moment. He felt that his soul had entered a body. When he got used to the body, Ning Shu opened his eyes. He raised his head from his arms and moved his stiff neck. The original owner was sitting in front of the stove to light the fire. There was a flame licking the bottom of the pot. Ning Shu saw that the flame in the stove was getting smaller. She looked around and grabbed a piece of dry wood and stuffed it into the stove. The surrounding environment was very dim. There was a kerosene lamp on the table. Ning Shu didn't know what time it was. The room was full of the smell of beans. Not far away, there was a gauze filter for bean dregs. In the pot, snow-white soy milk was boiling. The soy milk was bubbling. This was making tofu. Ning Shu felt a little numb and quickly accepted the plot. The original owner was called Zhu Sunyang. She was already a wife. The family relied on Zhu Sunyang to make tofu. Her husband, Zhu Yanqiu, went to Shanghai to study. Zhu Sunyang was a woman with a hard life. When she was 8 or 9 years old, she was sold by her parents to the local Zhu family. With the Zhu family's conditions, they didn't need to raise a child bride. It was because Zhu Yanqiu, who was only about 4 years old at the time, was sick and didn't get better. The Zhu family only had one child. If she went, it would be like digging out the Zhu family's heart. Master Zhu had a son at an old age. He only had this one son at the age of 40. At that time, he had the mentality of driving away bad luck. He also wanted to divert Zhu Yanqiu's illness and transfer the bad luck to someone else. So, he came up with the idea of raising a child bride. It was late in the Qing dynasty. The Eight-Nation Alliance had already swept through the old summer palace. The warlords were divided, the society was in turmoil, and the people lived in poverty. Zhu Sunyang's parents had no choice but to sell Zhu Sunyang to the Zhu family. The Zhu family matched Zhu Sunyang and Zhu Yanqiu's birth characters and found that it was very suitable. So, they gave Zhu Yanqiu's parents half a string of copper coins. From then on, Zhu Yanqiu was a member of the Zhu family. People in the countryside didn't have any names. Zhu Sunyang was the 4th child in the family, so she was called the 4th girl. The Zhu family wasn't satisfied with this name. Zhu Yanqiu's father, who was a scholar, gave the original owner the name Sunyang. He also gave Zhu Yanqiu the surname Zhu. In this way, even if they were a family, they could help share the bad luck for Zhu Yanqiu. A child bride didn't have any status in the family. In fact, Zhu Yanqiu's identity was like a maid who took care of Zhu Yanqiu. It was a bit like a servant girl. Zhu Sunyang, who was 8 or 9 years old, accepted her fate. At least she could eat her fill in the Zhu family. Perhaps it was because of the effect of driving away bad luck, Zhu Yanqiu's health gradually improved. From then on, Zhu Sunyang started to take care of Zhu Yanqiu every day. She bathed and fed Zhu Yanqiu. She also had to play with Zhu Yanqiu. It could be said that Zhu Sunyang was both a wife and a mother. Zhu Yanqiu inherited the good looks of the Zhu family. He wore a Westerner's little suit and small leather shoes. When he walked out, one could tell that he was a young master of a big family. In this Jiangnan water town, the turmoil in Beiping didn't have much impact here. With the abdication of the last emperor in the late Qing dynasty, the feudal society ended. The currency in circulation changed from copper coins to yuan datu and all kinds of paper notes. Zhu Yanqiu and Zhu Sunyang also grew up. When Zhu Yanqiu was 16 years old, he and Zhu Sunyang consummated their marriage. However, the unexpected happened. The Zhu family fell into dire straits. The family's business directly closed down. Old Master Zhu directly vomited blood and fell ill. He never got up from the bed again. In the end, he passed away. All the valuable things in the family were used to pay off the debts. After Old Master Zhu was buried, the servants in the family were dismissed. The family of 3 moved out of the big house and squeezed into the small house. The huge difference made Zhu Yanqiu very uncomfortable. She felt lost and helpless. In the end, she calmed down and told Mother Zhu that she was going to study in Shanghai. At this time, new and old ideas collided. The girl walked into the school. She wore a modified cheongsam, revealing her thin arms. The new students accepted the Westerners' ideas. Zhu Yanqiu wanted to revitalize the Zhu family through studying. Mother Zhu gave most of the family's money to Zhu Yanqiu and let Zhu Yanqiu go to Shanghai to study. Chapter 559. Zhu Yanqiu carried a suitcase with the money her mother gave her and boarded the ship to Shanghai. Not long after Zhu Yanqiu left, Zhu Sunyang found out that she was pregnant. However, the situation at home was difficult. Zhu Sunyang paid a small fee and learned how to make tofu from someone. She woke up early and worked late to make tofu while pregnant. Making tofu was a very arduous job. Soaking the soybeans, grinding the pulp, using that kind of big millstone to grind the pulp, filtering it, boiling the pulp, adding the brine, and pressing it into shape. These were all done by Zhu Sunyang. Zhu Sunyang basically didn't have time to rest in a day. She had to wake up in the middle of the night to make tofu. The next morning, she had to carry a pole and sell it on the street. After selling it, she would go home and grind the pulp non-stop. 9 months later, Zhu Sunyang gave birth to a son. Zhu Sunyang worked hard to manage the house and also relied on selling tofu to support Zhu Yanqiu's studies. Zhu Yanqiu would often send letters or telegrams to ask Zhu Sunyang to send him money. The reason was to buy books or pens. Zhu Yanqiu didn't suffer at all when the Zhu family was in dire straits. He used the best for everything. Even the socks he wore were the latest nylon socks made by foreigners. Foreigners' toys were luxuries at that time. Every time Zhu Yanqiu asked for money, Zhu Su would send her money. The family lived frugally and tightened their belts. Life was very hard, especially Zhu Sunyang. 5 days after giving birth, she got out of bed to work. What Zhu Sunyang didn't know was that Zhu Yanqiu had a girlfriend. She was a girl in the same school. The students in the school accepted the new ideas and advocated free love. It was easy for like-minded men and women in the school to get together. Dating and playing with friends were expensive forms of entertainment. Zhu Yanqiu could only ask his family for money frequently. Zhu Sunyang gritted her teeth and gave it to him. Zhu Yanqiu naturally got together with his girlfriend, Fang Feifei. After the Japanese invasion of China broke out in 918, this pair of lovers resolutely went to the battlefield and became a legend. Zhu Yanqiu became a senior military officer and Fang Feifei became a war reporter. They were called heroines. Zhu Sunyang died of depression. With so many years of hard work, her body couldn't take it anymore. She died before the age of 40. Until her death, Zhu Sunyang still couldn't figure it out. Zhu Yanqiu said that she was a civilized and enlightened person and wanted monogamy. She gave birth to a child for Zhu Yanqiu and grew up together with her. If they weren't husband and wife, then what were they? Zhu Yanqiu said that she couldn't communicate with her, but Zhu Yanqiu rarely spoke to her. Every time, she only asked for money. Zhu Sunyang's wish was, she would no longer be burdened by the Zhu family and live her own life with her son. Zhu Sunyang couldn't enter the school like Fang Feifei and couldn't wear black leather shoes and pleated skirts. It wasn't her fault that she couldn't, but Zhu Yanqiu just disliked Zhu Sunyang. How should he put it? Zhu Sunyang was the cannon fodder caused by the collision of feudal and advanced ideas. However, it was Zhu Yanqiu who was irresponsible and did his duty to Zhu Sunyang. After Ning Shu accepted the plot, he shook his head. That was why Zhu Sunyang was so kind. Even her wish was so humble. If she didn't kill Zhu Yanqiu, such an ungrateful scumbag, was she going to keep him for the new year? Ning Shu could feel Zhu Sunyang's resentment toward Zhu Yanqiu, but due to the environment she grew up in, she didn't dare to ask for too much. Zhu Sunyang was a woman in the feudal society. She was kind. She sacrificed everything for her family and used her own strength to help her family. She was even a little humble. On the other hand, Fang Feifei was a person who accepted new ideas. She was decisive and daring. She bravely pursued her ideals. When she wore a dress and walked on the street with her head held high, she had a different kind of charm and was very bright. One was wearing a gray shirt and black pants, the other was wearing a short-sleeved cheongsam and holding a poetry book in her hand. As long as one wasn't blind, one would know who to choose. Ning Shu could only laugh at this. Ning Shu rubbed his sleepy eyes, added some firewood into the stove, and scooped out the soy milk scum with a spoon. She didn't know how to make tofu at all. She relied on the memory in the mind of the original owner. It was estimated that she would make all the 365 lines once in the future. Ning Shu made tofu in a hurry. He worked until dawn, but Ning Shu still wasn't done. Sunyang, you're still at home. Is the tofu still not done today? Ning Shu asked when Mother Zhu walked into the kitchen. Ning Shu was working hard to make the tofu take shape. Hearing Mother Zhu's words, he said, "It'll be done soon." Usually, Zhu Sunyang would leave before dawn. Today, the sun was out. Mother Zhu saw Ning Shu was still in the kitchen after waking up. She walked over to take a look and helped Ning Shu. Mother Zhu would occasionally help, but Mother Zhu was the wife of a rich family. Even if she was down and out now, some habits couldn't be changed. However, Mother Zhu was a smart person. She was the mistress of a rich family. There were many servants in the house, and she was very good at managing them. She often said warm words to Zhu Sunyang, saying that Zhu Sunyang was a virtuous daughter-in-law. Being able to marry Zhu Sunyang was a blessing accumulated by the ancestors of the Zhu family. Zhu Sunyang didn't have a high status in the Zhu family. She didn't even have the qualifications to eat at the table. Now that Mother Zhu acknowledged her, Zhu Sunyang was very happy. Zhu Sunyang was a kind person. Besides, she was already a member of the Zhu family. There was no place for her to go. "Sunyang, has Yanqiu written recently?" Mother Zhu asked Ning Shu. Ning Shu casually said, "Not yet. Probably soon." Zhu Yanqiu, who was in love, was always in need of money. After much difficulty, the tofu was finally done. Ning Shu placed the tofu on the pole and carried the pole on her shoulders. Ning Shu tried to lift the pole, but she still couldn't lift it. She could only gather her qi in her dantian and try again. This time he lifted it. However, Ning Shu staggered forward 2 steps before stabilizing himself. The shoulder pole was very painful. Since Zhu Yanqiu left this family to study in Shanghai, Zhu Sunyang had been doing this every day. However, Zhu Yanqiu didn't take any responsibility for Zhu Sunyang. Instead, he squeezed Zhu Sunyang dry. The new ideology that Zhu Yanqiu accepted was freedom, equality, and universal love. Everyone had the right to pursue happiness. However, deep in his heart, he looked down on Zhu Sunyang. He looked down on Zhu Sunyang for being illiterate and rustic. "Mother, Siyuan is awake." Take care of him. Ning Shu turned his head and said to Mother Zhu. Zhu Siyuan was Zhu Yanqiu and Zhu Sunyang's son. He was almost 3 years old. Mother Zhu nodded and told Ning Shu to be careful. Ning Shu carried the pole and left. He followed Zhu Sunyang's route. There would be some acquaintances who would buy her tofu. Selling tofu wasn't difficult. It was just that the courage made Ning Shu feel very bitter. The tofu was almost all water. It was simply tiring to carry 2 baskets of water everywhere. He didn't know how Zhu Yanqiu persevered. Moreover, if she persevered for a day, she could only earn some money. All kinds of banknotes could add up to 1/5 of a large amount. At this time, 5 large amounts could buy a cow. 2 large amounts could let a family of 3 live for a year. Although it was hard, Zhu Yanqiu could only persevere day after day and live a prosperous life if she could earn some money. Damn, Ning Shu really wanted to quit. However, when he thought of Zhu Sunyang's son, he could only continue to sell tofu. Chapter 560. Ning Shu didn't eat anything when he went out in the morning. He bought a sesame seed cake from a stall and ate it. After that, he carried a pole and continued to sell tofu. Ning Shu wasn't very confident about the tofu he made today. There was still some tofu left. Ning Shu thought about it and took it back to dry it and made it into dried tofu for Zhu Siyuan to eat. It was good for grinding teeth. Ning Shu first went to the post office to see if there was a letter or a telegram from Zhu Yanqiu. The people in the post office all knew Zhu Yanqiu. When they saw Ning Shu, they said directly, "Sun Yang, there is a telegram for you today." Ning Shu, she wanted money again. Zhu Yanqiu was a debt collector. Damn it. Ning Shu took the telegram and paid for it. Then he read the content of the telegram. Zhu Yanqiu said that the weather was cold and wet in Shanghai. She wanted to buy a coat. She wanted money. After leaving the post office, Ning Shu directly tore the telegram sent by Zhu Yanqiu into pieces. You deserve to freeze to death. You used my hard-earned money to please other women and acted like a young master in front of others. Get lost. Ning Shu took the money from selling tofu today and went to a restaurant to buy a roast duck. Then he went to a meat stall and bought 2 pounds of meat and 1 pound of big bones. His family hadn't eaten meat for half a month. Zhu Yanqiu went in and out of high-end Western restaurants to eat candlelight Western food. Ning Shu went home with a pole and saw Zhu Siyuan, who was 2 or 3 years old, playing in the yard. Zhu Yanqiu's mother sat under the eaves of the corridor, watching the child and sewing the soles of shoes. Seeing Ning Shu come back, Zhu Siyuan and Ning Shu ran over. Ning Shu put down the pole and hugged Zhu Siyuan. This was Zhu Sunyang's precious egg. Zhu Siyuan was a little thin and his hair was a little yellow. He looked a little malnourished. Zhu Sunyang cooked an egg for the child occasionally or made some soy milk for him to drink when she made tofu. It could be said that the whole family was supporting Zhu Yanqiu and was sucked dry by Zhu Yanqiu. Mother Zhu put down the shoe soles in her hands and came over to see that the tofu hadn't been sold out. She had also bought meat and roast duck wrapped in oil paper. She frowned and said, "Why hasn't the tofu been sold out?" Ning Shu said, "I want to make some dried tofu for Siyuan." "Why are you wasting so much money on so many things?" Mama Zhu asked. "Yanqiu's school fees are so expensive." "Mother, I know what to do." Ning Shu carried the load to the kitchen. Mother Zhu didn't say anything and personally cooked a meal. 2 jin of meat and dried vegetables were roasted together. The oily food looked very tempting. Ning Shu swallowed a mouthful of saliva. He really wanted to eat. Mother Zhu even cut the roast duck into slices and wrapped them in pancakes to eat. She was, after all, the madam of a wealthy family and knew how to eat. Ning Shu fed Zhu Siyuan bone broth and made some red braised pork for the child. Ning Shu's mouth was covered in oil, and even Mother Zhu didn't care about her image as she ate. The food was incomparably delicious. The 2 adults and the child finished all the dishes on the table. They hadn't eaten meat for a long time and were very hungry. After the meal, Mother Zhu didn't move from her chair. Ning Shu began to clean up the dishes. Mother Zhu asked Ning Shu, "Did Yanqiu send a letter?" Ning Shu washed the dishes and said indifferently, "No, but I think it will be soon." Mother Zhu said, "The weather is cold. I made 2 pairs of shoes for Yanqiu. You can send them to the post office." Ning Shu glanced at the cotton shoes Mother Zhu made. They were quite exquisite, and the thread was well kept. Ning Shu felt that even if he sent them, Zhu Yanqiu wouldn't wear them. Ning Shu agreed and looked at the clothes little Siyuan was wearing. They were very shabby. Ning Shu thought about buying some cotton and cloth to make clothes for the child. Otherwise, he would freeze to death in winter. Ning Shu wouldn't be like Zhu Sunyang, who had to save money for Zhu Yanqiu and raise the child well. Speaking of which, Zhu Sunyang was also quite miserable. She gave birth to the child, raised the child, and raised the man. The whole family depended on her. Fuck. Then what was the use of Zhu Yanqiu? Later, Zhu Yanqiu became rich, but Zhu Sunyang didn't benefit at all. Instead, she was abandoned. They were like-minded comrades. Mother Zhu kept asking when Zhu Yanqiu would send a letter. In fact, Mother Zhu could go to the post office and ask, but Mother Zhu rarely went out of the yard. Mother Zhu and Zhu Yanqiu were the same. They were afraid of the outside world, and Zhu Yanqiu supported her beliefs with her clothes. Mother Zhu let Zhu Sunyang do all the work when she went out. Ning Shu pressed the tofu under a wooden plank. There was a heavy object on the plank to press the water out of the tofu. After doing all this, Ning Shu walked into Zhu Sunyang's room and took out a box from the simple cabinet. There were banknotes and money in the box. There were more than 20 yuan in total. This was all saved by Zhu Sunyang through hard work selling tofu and living frugally. 20 yuan was already a huge sum of money. With this money, the family could live well. It had only been half a month since Zhu Sunyang sent money. Now, Zhu Yanqiu asked for money more and more frequently. She probably had some progress with Fang Feifei. It was more expensive for an artistic youth to be in a relationship. What they enjoyed was on a spiritual level. Ning Shu put away the money. Selling tofu today exhausted her. If she gave this money to Zhu Yanqiu, Ning Shu felt so distressed that she couldn't breathe. Now, she had to save money quickly so that she and her son could live a better life. Whatever she wanted to do, she had to eat her fill first. At this time, it was time for Ning Shu to grind the beans again. Pushing the big millstone made her dog tired. She didn't have time to rest at all. Ning Shu was so sleepy that she dozed off while pushing the millstone. This body was a little weak. Before the age of 40, she had fallen ill from overwork. When she was free, she still had to cultivate peerless martial arts. If she had known that it was a chaotic world, she would have exchanged for a gun in advance. She had to have the ability to protect herself. Mother, Grandma fell. She fell asleep on the ground. Zhu Siyuan walked over and fell when he crossed the threshold. He anxiously shouted at Ning Shu, who was pushing the millstone. Zhu Siyuan still couldn't speak clearly, but Ning Shu heard him clearly. Mother Zhu fell. Ning Shu went out of the kitchen and went to the living room. He saw Mother Zhu on the ground with her eyes closed and her face pale. She didn't look well. Ning Shu wanted to put Mother Zhu on the bed, but he couldn't do it alone. He said to little Siyuan, "Be good, Siyuan. Mother will go find someone. You look after your grandmother and don't run around." Ning Shu hurried out and found a few middle-aged women next door. He asked them to help move Mother Zhu to the bed. The reason why he only asked for women was to avoid suspicion. Mother Zhu was a widowed woman. There was no man in the house. If a man came to the house, it would be bad for her reputation. Although there were Westerners at this time who believed that everyone was equal, feudalism was deeply ingrained. It was very harsh on women. With the help of a few aunties, the fainted Mother Zhu was put on the bed. Ning Shu asked the aunties to take care of Mother Zhu and the child. He went to the pharmacy to find a doctor. Chapter 561. Ning Shu went to the pharmacy to find a doctor and hurried back with him. Mother Zhu was still lying on the bed, and the doctor was taking her pulse. Ning Shu stood beside the bed, holding little Siyuan's hand. If the plot didn't change, Mother Zhu wouldn't be able to survive this winter. "Doctor, how's my mother-in-law?" Ning Shu asked. The doctor took back his hand from Mother Zhu's wrist and shook his head. "It's not a serious illness. She's just depressed and worried. She needs to be nursed back to health. Ning Shu thanked the doctor and gave him the consultation fee. To put it bluntly, Mother Zhu's illness was caused by her overthinking. Mother Zhu was a woman from a big house. Ever since Grandfather Zhu died, Mother Zhu had been in a state of panic. Her son wasn't by her side, and she didn't have a man to rely on. Ning Shu shook his head. Mother Zhu was too weak. Zhu Su Nyang took good care of Mother Zhu and didn't let her do any heavy work. As a result, Mother Zhu overthought things when she was free. Ning Shu gave each of the women who came to help a piece of tofu to express his gratitude. The women accepted the tofu with smiles and told Ning Shu to call them if he needed anything. Ning Shu thanked them profusely. Ning Shu sat beside the bed and took Mother Zhu's pulse. The results were similar to what the doctor said. Ning Shu was speechless. Mother Zhu was depressed. Mother Zhu slowly woke up. Seeing Ning Shu beside the bed, she asked, "What's wrong with me?" "Mother, you're fine. You're just a bit weak. You'll be fine after more rest," Ning Shu said, avoiding the main point. "The doctor gave me a prescription. I'll be fine after taking it." Mother Zhu struggled to get up. Ning Shu helped her up. Mother Zhu said tiredly, "No need to take the medicine. Leave the money to Yanxiu." Since ancient times, illness had been the most frightening thing to people, because a family could very well be hollowed out. Zhu Sunyang didn't give up on Mother Zhu. She had a hard time every day and had to take care of her sick mother-in-law. The money for the medicine and Zhu Yanxiu's school fees all fell on Zhu Sunyang's shoulders. Zhu Sunyang could only make more tofu to sell. Often, she would be so tired that she would fall asleep on the millstone. During the period when Zhu Mu's mother was sick, Zhu Sunyang worked too hard and hurt her body. In the end, she died early. "It's okay. We have money to buy medicine for you." Ning Shu said, "I'll make more tofu to sell tomorrow." Mother Zhu sighed and said, "I know my own body best. Send a telegram to Yanxiu and have him come back." Ning Shu agreed and went to the post office to send a telegram to Zhu Yanxiu. Even if he sent the telegram, it was useless. Zhu Yanxiu would not come back at all. The reason was that his studies were more important and he had no time. Zhu Sunyang sent telegrams to him one after another, but Zhu Yanxiu did not respond. Before Mother Zhu died, all she wanted to do was to see her son. She kept looking at the door, but Zhu Yanxiu did not come back in the end. At that time, Zhu Yanxiu, as an ambitious young man, was marching in the streets and shouting to revitalize the Chinese nation. After sending a telegram to Zhu Yanxiu, Ning Shu took the prescription to the pharmacy to get medicine for Mother Zhu. In the plot, under such difficult conditions, Zhu Sunyang did not give up on Mother Zhu. Mother Zhu had a very good reputation in this town and was known as a virtuous daughter-in-law. However, Zhu Yanxiu still abandoned Zhu Sunyang. Ning Shu did not intend to ruin this reputation. After all, in this era, reputation was very important to women. Even if he went against Zhu Yanxiu in the future, he would be justified. Besides, he would not send money to Zhu Yanxiu anymore. The nearly 20 yuan at home and the money from selling tofu every day was enough for them to live well. After getting the medicine, Ning Shu went back to decoct the medicine for Mother Zhu. When she saw Ning Shu, the first thing Mother Zhu did was to ask Ning Shu if he had sent a telegram to Zhu Yanxiu. Ning Shu said he had. Mother Zhu only missed her son. In the past few years, Zhu Sunyang had been taking care of her, but Zhu Sunyang had not entered her heart. She would not lose anything if she said some nice things. Before she died, she grabbed Zhu Sunyang's hand and said that she was a good daughter-in-law of the Zhu family. She hoped that the two of them would live well in the future. She would be relieved if she knew. Mother Zhu was afraid that Zhu Sunyang would not take care of Zhu Yanxiu after she died and would play tricks on Zhu Sunyang before she died. Zhu Sunyang was very touched. Mother Zhu's slight approval could make her die. After Mother Zhu died, Zhu Sunyang continued to sell tofu to take care of Zhu Yanxiu. Ning Shu decocted the medicine for Mother Zhu. Seeing little Ning Shu looking at him, Ning Shu took out some dried tofu for Zhu Xiyuan. Zhu Xiyuan took the dried tofu and ate happily. Ning Shu felt that he had to improve the food at home in the future. He had to eat well and wear warm clothes to live a good life. Speaking of which, Zhu Yanqiu had not seen her son until now. Zhu Yanqiu refreshed Ning Shu's outlook on life. His wife did not come back when she gave birth, and his mother did not come back when she died. He came back when he was successful and famous. He kowtowed a few times at his mother's grave and shed a few drops of cat urine. Was that his filial piety? Ning Shu gave the medicine to Mother Zhu and said, "Mother, drink the medicine while it's hot." The black medicine was very bitter. Mother Zhu held her breath and drank it. It was so bitter that she smacked her lips. She said with some nostalgia, "When I was in the big house, I could eat candied fruit every day." Alas, Ning Shu glanced at Mother Zhu. Candied fruit was more expensive than meat. It was a snack for rich families. With the Zhu family's current situation, they could not afford to eat candied fruit. "Mother, why don't I go buy some candied fruit for you?" Ning Shu said. Mother Zhu looked a little moved. Finally, she said, "Forget it. We don't have much money at home. We still have to send money to Yanqiu and buy medicine. I won't die if I don't eat candied fruit." Ning Shu made an "oh" sound and did not say anything. The next day, after Ning Shu sold the tofu, he went to the dessert shop and bought some candied fruit. He also bought dried walnuts for Zhu Siyuan to nourish his brain. Now, Ning Shu wanted to raise Zhu Siyuan until he was white and chubby. He could not suffer for Zhu Yanqiu. Even if Zhu Yanqiu could not see his suffering, she would not care. When he was buying, Ning Shu told the shop owner that his mother-in-law was afraid of bitter medicine and that he would buy some candied fruit for her. Anyway, she was a virtuous daughter-in-law who worked hard without complaint. She might as well be more filial. She also wanted to try candied fruit. After Mother Zhu drank the medicine, Ning Shu gave her the candied fruit. When Mother Zhu saw the candied fruit, her eyes flashed with surprise. She said, "Why did you buy such an expensive thing? It's too wasteful." "Mother, I know what I'm doing. Today's tofu sold for a bit more money than yesterday," Ning Shu said lightly. Mother Zhu put the candied fruit in her mouth and closed her eyes. Her expression was one of reminiscence and enjoyment. Then she put away the rest of the candied fruit. She did not think about giving Ning Shu too. Ning Shu secretly curled his lips. Fortunately, she had left some for the child. Mother Zhu was also a selfish person. Because Mother Zhu was sick, Zhu Siyuan slept with Ning Shu. After coaxing Zhu Siyuan to sleep, Ning Shu sat cross-legged on the bed and cultivated his peerless martial arts. In troubled times, he had to have the ability to protect himself and his child. Chapter 562. After practicing the peerless martial arts for a while, Ning Shu stopped. His body was covered in sweat. Ning Shu fetched some water and wiped his body, then began to make tofu. At this time, it was at most 3 in the morning. Ning Shu had to grind until 10 in the morning, and he had to get up at 3 in the morning to make tofu. When the sun rose, he had to carry the steaming tofu to sell. This meant that Zhu Sunyang couldn't even get 6 hours of sleep a day. Ning Shu made some dried tofu to sell. He sprinkled a few peppercorns and squeezed the water out of the tofu. The dried tofu was not bad and had a firm texture. It would sell well with tofu, and the price was slightly higher than that of the tofu. Ning Shu was about to go out with the load when Zhu Su's mother struggled to get up from the bed. She leaned against the door and said to Ning Shu, "Nyang, send a telegram to Yanqiu. I want to see him." Ning Shu saw that Zhu Su's mother's face was pale and she looked very weak. He nodded and said, "Mother, I know." After Ning Shu went out, he locked the door from the outside. There were children and patients in the house. What if a bad person got in? Maybe it was because he had practiced the peerless martial arts that his physical fitness had improved a little. He walked very quickly with the load today and felt a little more relaxed. After selling the tofu, Ning Shu went to the post office. Ning Shu, who was at the counter, said, "There's a telegram for you." Ning Shu took it and glanced at it. It was Zhu Yanqiu's reply. The content was that she was busy with her studies and couldn't take time out to go home. At the end of the letter, she asked Ning Shu to send some money and her tone wasn't good. Zhu Yanqiu was probably unhappy that he didn't send the telegram last time. Ning Shu grinned and sent a telegram to Zhu Yanqiu. The content was that her mother was very sick and wanted to see her. Come back quickly. Ning Shu paid for the telegram. In this era, telegrams were very expensive. They were all calculated by the number of words. How much was a word? After a while, Ning Shu did not have much money left from selling tofu. He would only send telegrams when there was something important. Normally, he would write letters. After leaving the post office, Ning Shu went to a butcher's stall to buy some meat. Now that he had to improve his diet, he had to eat meat at least once a day. Moreover, Ning Shu was always hungry when he was cultivating his peerless martial arts. Originally, Ning Shu wanted to eat the fasting pill. However, when he thought about how the environment would only get worse and worse, and how food would become more and more scarce, he decided to use the fasting pill as a last resort. Back home, Ning Shu gave the telegram to Mother Zhu, who was lying in bed, and said, "Mother, Yanxiu said that she is busy with her studies and may not come back this year." Mother Zhu looked at the contents of the telegram and didn't say anything. Her face was pale and she looked very disappointed. Ning Shu said, "I sent him another telegram." Mother Zhu said, "Yanxiu wants money. Did you send him the money?" "I did." Ning Shu spouted nonsense. Zhu Yanxiu wouldn't be able to get anything from her in the future. Mother Zhu turned over on the bed with her back facing Ning Shu. Her breathing was a little rough. She was probably crying secretly. Ning Shu didn't say anything. He turned around and left Mother Zhu's room. When he returned to his room, he saw Zhu Siyuan sitting on the bed, eating candied fruits and dried tofu. When he saw Ning Shu, he climbed down from the bed and called out to Ning Shu in a childish voice. He was a 3-year-old child, but he had never seen his father. After Zhu Sunyang died, Zhu Siyuan was taken over by Zhu Yanxiu. After all, he was her child. The teenager was in his rebellious period. He hated his father, Zhu Yanxiu, and the heroine, Fang Fei. He would do anything that made Zhu Yanxiu unhappy. He was a hopeless child. No matter how much Zhu Yanxiu beat him, it was useless. At that time, Zhu Yanxiu was already famous. He was a high-ranking military officer and had tens of thousands of men under his command. He could be the king of a place. Zhu Siyuan's evil and destructive power was a little too great. He caused trouble everywhere with Zhu Yanxiu's power. Zhu Siyuan hated his father to the bone. His mother was devoted to him, but in return, Zhu Yanxiu abandoned her mercilessly. The father and son were enemies. They felt that they couldn't live under the same sky. They fought whenever they saw each other. There were several times when Zhu Yanxiu wanted to take out his gun and shoot him, but he couldn't do it in the end. A man who abandoned his wife and son succeeded in the end and was respected by others. Ning Shu touched Zhu Siyuan's head. Now that they were living together, he didn't care if Zhu Yanxiu died. He would let Zhu Siyuan become a good young man with dreams and ambitions. In the end, he would climb above his father and make his father bow to him. If he hated someone, he would have to climb higher than him and control his fate. Then, as Zhu Siyuan's mother, he would have to set an example for Zhu Siyuan. Wasn't Fang Feifei called a heroine? Ning Shu's days were very busy. He didn't sleep at night and used meditation to replace sleep. In the early morning, he had to wake up to make tofu. Ning Shu wanted to earn more money now and buy more food. When there was a shortage of food, even a small yellow croaker wouldn't be able to buy a steamed bun. He had to fulfill Zhu Sunyang's wish and take good care of Zhu Siyuan. He also had to plan a happy life for Zhu Sunyang. Zhu Sunyang had fallen to this point. Wasn't it because Zhu Sunyang wasn't as capable as Fang Feifei? The weather was getting colder. Ning Shu used money to buy cotton and cloth to make 2 winter jackets for little Siyuan and himself. The reason why he didn't make clothes for Zhu Sunyang's mother was that she was bedridden. Her condition was so serious that she couldn't get out of bed. No matter how much medicine she took, it didn't work. Although it didn't work, Ning Shu still took medicine and boiled it for Zhu Sunyang's mother. He even bought candied fruit several times. Ning Shu felt that this was because of Zhu Sunyang's mother's mentality. She couldn't bear hardships. If she could endure it, she would definitely become a blessed old lady. After all, Zhu Yanxiu would become rich in the future. Sometimes, Zhu Sunyang's mother was so sick that she was muddle-headed. She would call out Zhu Yanqiu's name. It seemed that she wouldn't be able to endure it for long. When the doctor came to see her, he told Ning Shu to prepare for her funeral. Ning Shu frequently went to the post office to send telegrams to Zhu Yanqiu, asking him to come back. Zhu Yanqiu would reply before, but later on he was probably annoyed by Ning Shu. In addition, he didn't send him money for a long time. Zhu Yanqiu was angry and didn't reply at all. Ning Shu directly said that his mother was dying and that he had to come back to send the coffin. This time, Zhu Yanqiu replied. He was very dissatisfied with Ning Shu saying that his mother was dying. Zhu Yanqiu didn't believe that his mother was dying. Zhu Yanqiu's mother was the madam of a rich family and had always been in good health. Besides, Zhu Yanqiu also knew that Zhu Sunyang was in charge of everything at home. In the end, Zhu Yanqiu said at the end of the letter, "Thank you for everything at home." Then, he said that the winter in Shanghai was very cold. The sea breeze from the Huangpu River was humid and cold. Anyway, he needed money to buy clothes. Ning Shu tore the telegram. Anyway, Zhu Yanqiu wouldn't come back no matter how much he said. Coming out of the post office, Ning Shu began to prepare the coffin and shroud. Zhu Sunyang's mother couldn't even eat now. She could only eat a little liquid food. Sometimes she couldn't even drink water. When Zhu Sunyang's mother was sober, she asked Ning Shu if Zhu Yanqiu had come back. As soon as Ning Shu said no, Zhu Sunyang's mother began to cry. Chapter 563. When Ning Shu saw that Mother Zhu's forehead was filled with a thick aura of death and her forehead was dark, she knew that Mother Zhu would pass away in a few days. Instead of selling tofu, Ning Shu stayed close to Mother Zhu to take care of her. She also recorded the date of Mother Zhu's death so that the geomancer could find a good grave for her. "Sun Yang, come to me." Mother Zhu, who was so sick that she couldn't even turn over, sat up on her own. Ning Shu waved at her. Ning Shu saw that Mother Zhu's complexion was better than before she was sick. He felt creeped out and walked over to ask, "Mother, what's wrong?" Mother Zhu reached out to hold Ning Shu's hand and patted the back of Ning Shu's hand with her other hand. Ning Shu wanted to withdraw his hand, but Mother Zhu held it. How could a sick person have so much strength? "You're a good woman and a good daughter-in-law. Yanqiu is lucky to have a daughter-in-law like you. After I leave, you and Yanqiu should live well and take care of Siyuan." Mother Zhu said to Ning Shu, "Yanqiu's father and I will rest in peace if we see you happy together in the underworld." Ning Shu just said, "Mother, don't say such discouraging words. You'll get better." Mother Zhu shook her head. "I dreamed of Master last night. He came to pick me up. I know my body can't take it anymore. Promise me that you'll live well with Yanqiu." Ning Shu nodded indifferently. He wasn't agitated by Mother Zhu's words. "Mother, don't worry. I'll live well." Living well didn't necessarily mean living with Zhu Yanqiu. Mother Zhu didn't hear Ning Shu's unspoken words and nodded with satisfaction. She looked out the door again and said with longing and sadness, "I wonder how Yanqiu is doing now." Zhu Yanqiu had left home to study in Shanghai when she was 18. She was almost 21 now. No wonder Mother Zhu wanted to see what Zhu Yanqiu looked like. Ning Shu helped Mother Zhu lie down. Mother Zhu's eyes were still fixed on the door. Ning Shu stayed close to Mother Zhu and placed Zhu Siyuan, who had fallen asleep in his arms, on the bed. When he returned to Mother Zhu's room, Ning Shu saw that she was already asleep. He called out to her, but there was no response. Ning Shu placed his hand in front of Mother Zhu's nose. She was no longer breathing. Ning Shu was quite scared to die in the middle of the night. He hurriedly went out and knocked on the door of the neighbor next door, asking for help. Ning Shu's eyes were red all the time. Hearing that Mother Zhu had passed away, the neighbors saw that it wasn't easy for Ning Shu to manage the funeral alone at home, so they all came to help. With everyone's help, Zhu Mu's mother's body was moved to the hall and laid in the middle of the hall. They began to clean Zhu Mu's mother's body and put on her shroud. They worked until dawn. "Sun Yang, Zhu Yanqiu hasn't come back yet?" Ning Shu, the auntie next door, asked, "What will happen if she stays with the coffin?" Ning Shu shook his head and anxiously argued for Zhu Yanqiu. Yanqiu is too busy with her studies. Siyuan and I will stay with the coffin. The people in the hall looked at each other. In the end, an elder in the family stood up and said, "What scholar? Why didn't the old woman come back?" Ning Shu lowered his head and didn't say anything. Ning Shu and the little boy, Zhu Siyuan, were the ones staying with the coffin. They wore coarse white clothes and knelt in front of the coffin to burn paper. Zhu Siyuan was confused and didn't understand what was going on. Ning Shu spent a lot of money to hire a feng shui master to find a good grave. She also hired a chef to prepare food and wine for the relatives, friends, and elders in the family who came to pay their respects. In short, Ning Shu was in charge of all these things. He even hired a Swana team to play the drums and beat the drums. They were going to bury Zhu Mu's mother grandly. Because they needed a man to send the coffin, the only man at home was Zhu Siyuan. However, Zhu Siyuan was confused. The feng shui master told Ning Shu to hold the child. The child held a small incense burner in his hand. There was a stick of incense in the burner and it was fine as long as the incense didn't go out or the burner was knocked over. After going through the entire process of the funeral, Ning Shu carried Zhu Siyuan and walked at the front of the funeral procession. She didn't even look back as she walked to the chosen grave. Fortunately, nothing went wrong during the process. Zhu Mu's mother was successfully buried. Ning Shu watched as the soil gradually covered the coffin. Zhu Mu's mother hadn't suffered much in her life. She was the daughter of a rich family. Then she married the scholar, old Master Zhu. Her family declined, and Zhu Sunyang took care of her like she was her own mother. She probably used up all her blessings in this life. Zhu Yanqiu didn't succeed in life. After Zhu Mu's mother was buried, Ning Shu didn't send Zhu Yanqiu any more telegrams. Even if Zhu Yanqiu sent a telegram, Ning Shu would tear it up after reading it. Sometimes, he would take it back and give it to Zhu Siyuan to make paper airplanes. Ning Shu was still making tofu. However, there were restaurants that liked Ning Shu's dried tofu. They would sell some tofu every day. His life was much better than before. He had accumulated some money. He used most of it to buy food and store it. After being fed by Ning Shu for a period of time, Zhu Siyuan was much fatter than before. Her hair was not as yellow as before. Ning Shu had been recuperating this body. In addition, she had some success in cultivating the peerless martial arts when she was free, so her strength was much greater than before. Ning Shu had been looking for a suitable weapon for himself. In this era, guns were the most powerful weapons. However, Ning Shu didn't have the means to get a gun. Was he going to carry a big knife and be a heroine? It was better to use a hidden weapon. It was convenient to carry and hide. Ning Shu asked the blacksmith to get her a large needle. It was about the size of a nail, but much sharper than a nail. When Ning Shu had nothing to do, she would practice swinging the needle in the yard to practice her aim. The world would only become more and more chaotic. When the Japanese trampled on the land, the whole nation was wailing and struggling in pain. Ning Shu went to the pharmacy to get some medicine. He made some poisonous powder and some medicinal powder that could stop bleeding and treat external injuries. A woman and a child were both vulnerable and easy to be bullied. When he was free, Ning Shu also let Zhu Siyuan run around the yard and do the horse stance to train his body. However, Zhu Siyuan was just a child. He didn't know how to think, so Ning Shu could only strengthen himself. Ning Shu still went out to sell tofu every day. However, the atmosphere in the town was not right. It was filled with a panicked atmosphere. The Japanese launched the September 18th incident. Because the central government didn't resist the policy, the northeast warlord Zhang Xueliang didn't resist and retreated into the pass. As a result, the 3 northeast provinces quickly fell. The whole society was condemning Zhang Xueliang and the Nanjing central government. These were too high and mighty for the people. Because of the fall of the 3 northeast provinces, many people fled the northeast and poured into other places. Moreover, after the Japanese occupied the 3 northeast provinces, they continued to expand. It was very likely that they would attack this place. The influx of these refugees would cause a lot of chaos. In this national war, everyone was helpless and precarious. Ning Shu truly felt the insignificance of an individual. Many people in the town had already started to move. When someone took the lead to move, the others followed blindly. They were afraid to be a step slower. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.